got a new one, right? Off the printer?
You're right.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Are these on?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
All right, good.
I don't know if that.
It was a short meeting.
Yeah, that was quick.
All right, see you later.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good.
Dependencies. Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm Burnett County Judge Brian Wilson. I now call our Burnett County Commissioners Court meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. The time is now 9:01. I call agenda item number 2, the invocation and pledges. We welcome Gordon Bergstrom from the First Baptist Church in Bertram, Texas. We really appreciate you being here today. So just ask you to pray over our meeting today and our county.
May I just say first, I'm here by privilege. I appreciate this. I've instructed our congregation that you do not have a right to complain more about someone than you did praying for them. So we're here to pray for you. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for those who are willing to accept responsibility and to do things that are behind the scenes that most of us never know anything about. But we pray, Father, for their wisdom. We pray that you just give them the strength and the guidance. And we thank you for the place where we live, that this is home, and we can enjoy this. And may we do so together as you guide us. And we ask it in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Join us in the pledges, please. The American flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. And so I just call agenda item number 3, public comments pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.007, the Burnett County Commissioners Court Rules of Decorum. Any person may make comment on an item not appearing on an agenda. Any comments made will not be deliberated on by the Commissioners Court during this public comment agenda item. Public comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay. All right, I close public comment on agenda item number 3. I call agenda item number 4, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding a burn ban for the unincorporated areas of the Burnett County. Burnett County. I have Mr. Derek Marcio.
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. Derek Marcio, Burnett County Emergency Management Coordinator. So at this point, we're still riding on the tails of all the great rain that we did get kind of through the month of November. As we look at it today, or as numbers yesterday, because the numbers for today haven't come out yet, the Keach-Byram Drought Index had us at a minimum value of 187, a maximum value of 574, and an average of 391. According to the U.S. Drought Monitor, we're not experiencing any drought across about 2/3 of the county, and the other third, which is basically our southern third, has experienced anything between abnormally dry to moderate drought, or D0 or D1 on that scale. This kind of shows how that rain fell during November. It was mostly over the northern 2/3 of the county. Now, at the same time, you look at some of the more longer range indicators, it's our dead fuels that are probably the biggest concern. And those are expected to dry out pretty considerably over the next week without any appreciable rain in the forecast. But overall, the fuel moistures and ERC the energy release component percentiles are remaining in about the best places they can be. Live fuel moistures are expected to remain above normal, and those ERC percentiles are expected to remain at the lowest range at 0 to 49% range. So they're going to teeter around normal for about the next week or so. There is kind of a chance of rain as we get into this part of next week. We'll have to see how that plays out. If we don't get that, the next time we meet, we'll more likely be talking about putting a burn ban in place at that point. Because of all the green up that we have had, I wouldn't really recommend putting on a burn ban at this point. Once again, I would say probably about, the next meeting would probably be about the right time. But going forward, kind of the biggest concerns, we're still waiting for the dormant season outlook from the Texas A&M Forest Service. But we've already had our first freeze, which means some of those grasses that were already drought cured are now freeze cured. Some of those grasses that weren't able to survive that freeze, once again, are now freeze cured. Now, what does that mean for, fire weather triggers? It means they're lower than we normally see during summer. It means that instead of looking at those 20% and lower humidities, we're looking at more in that 30% range. Those grasses tend to dry out much quicker, much faster, and can ignite a little sooner than we would normally expect. But once again, no rain forecast over the next 7 days. Beyond that, there's another little chance. We will have a front move through this weekend that will increase our humidities and lower those risks. But by and large, looking at any of the forecast products, at least for fire weather, it's all green, literally.
Okay, thank you. So right now, we're going to set it aside. We have really high fuel loads everywhere. I'm going around the county. I'm seeing really, really thick fuel loads, dry fuel loads. So we've got to really watch that. And then, so just to remind Court and myself that if something were to change between now and Commissioner's Court, then we could be able to execute a burn ban that would last for 73 days. Is that right?
7 days. So we could do it one of two ways. We could either, one, set a special meeting to where we can just put normal burn ban in place, depending on what those conditions are. If it's just something, hey, this has deteriorated a little more rapidly than we expected, but not so rapidly that it requires a, Chapter 418 disaster declaration to put it on.
But I'm just saying,
We could do
the options
that.
for declaration, if something changes on the ground, is that either the judge can do a temporary burn ban until the Commissioner's Court is set, or we can call a special Commissioner.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Marshall. So is there any public comment on this issue? Close public comment. Commissioners, do you want to take a motion, or do we just go ahead and at this time leave it alone? By general consent, we'll pass on this item. Call agenda item number 5. Discuss, consider, take appropriate action regarding the flood recovery update, debris site cleanup, and debris cleanup, search and rescue, and law enforcement response, and long-term recovery plan for the following. We'll start off with the Arcs of Highland Lakes, Executive Director Kevin Nauman. Good morning.
Morning.
I have some paperwork to hand around here to you if you are interested. Well, it's good to be here with y'all this morning. My name's Kevin Nauman. My wife Rachel is back there with me as well with the Arc of Highland Lakes. We are honored and blessed to be part of this organization. I have one more if you need it. which, as we've talked about before, is simply a network of churches. And so our primary goal is just to help coordinate, help direct, and help organize the community goodwill, primarily during events like what we experienced with the flood, but then also just during the off time, we have taken an approach of trying to maintain trust, maintain relationships, maintain ability to spin up networks of churches and peoples to be able to respond better and quicker across the board, whether it's a devastating event like a flood or something more ongoing like generational cycles of poverty, which we're working on and are currently still working on as well. Wanted to just give you some numbers. We talked a lot about who we are and stuff like that. There's some information in the packet. I'd be happy to present on that at any point. But primarily today, just focus on a little bit of where we've been, what's still remaining, and where we're headed. Thank you all for your support. I think before we get into any of the numbers, I think you should be very proud of the way this community responded to this event, the way that the churches and organizations and people, individuals across the community, across the greater Highland Lakes area, but then even across the state and the country, have responded to help others as they've been in need. If you skip to that second page, it just gives you a little bit of a background of where we started. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but you can read it. If you have any questions about that, I'd be glad to answer anything along the way. July 5th, that flood hit. Right at the beginning, we were able to immediately just flip a switch and get people out to volunteer to staff shelters in both Ponca Falls and Burnett. A lot of that quick response was made possible because of the off-time work that we've done with Derek and you all to just be able to have those relationships existing already. Whenever something's needed, we're able to make one phone call and get it going. That helped 24 people. We had lots of pets that we took care of during that time. Right away, we knew that was going to be a big event, so we started working on getting some people trained up and ready to go in terms of being able to respond and to be able to go and help clean out. And so even that day after the flood, we were able to get people out and start working on cleaning up and getting back to at least a place where we could start rebuilding from. That was a big endeavor right there, those first few weeks right after the flood, where we were trying to get in quickly, get stuff removed, get sheetrock out, get all the insulation out of the walls that would cause mold, and then be able to go back. And we partnered with Texas Baptist Men, their organization is Texans on Mission. They have a shockwave treatment that we were able to go in and spray those houses with that was able to keep them from getting mold. And so just right away, right off the bat, we had about 5,600 hours of volunteer time, 800 people, volunteers out in the field, just right off the day two and on, trying to get people just to clean out, just get cleaned out and be able to start figuring out what was next. I wanted to highlight July 8th was the day that we met in Commissioner's Court, and y'all gave us the opportunity to kind of step in and lead this charge of volunteer management, donations management, and I think that was a critical decision. Because what that allowed us to do was to be able to step forward and say, this is the plan, and be able to start organizing people, because right there in the event of a disaster like that, people come in from all over the place. Everybody wants to help, but often people get overrun with the goodwill of people, right? And so coordinating all of that is key to start kind of rewiring people's brains and start realizing we're in this for trying to be resilient in the middle of what we're going through. And so that allowed us to spin up our warehouse. It allowed us to spin up our mobile food trailer and distribution sites. It allowed us to start working on food distribution. We had people come all the way from all over the country to give meals and cook meals and package and deliver them out. 18,000 in just a couple of week period of meals being delivered. We worked with Derek and you all to put together that multi-agency resource center. In that moment, we were able to distribute $50,000 in just gift card assistance quickly to people that were in need. And then we started the full-scale long-term recovery, and that's where I wanted to really spend the next couple of minutes. All of those things are still going. The warehouse is still going. The commissary support for hygiene items and cleaning supplies is still going. Even in the abundance of all of that, we were still able to also get supplies distributed out to many of the food pantries, many of the diaper hunger pantries in the area, many of the other nonprofit organizations. We were able to kind of redistribute some of that influx of supplies to help get everybody to a little bit of a better place across the last several months. And so that's been huge, I think, as well. Our theory on that is a rising tide rises all ships. So if we can help a food pantry have more food, it means that we don't have to recreate that wheel, right? And so like if people are donating food to us, we don't necessarily need that. We can just shift it over to somebody that does that all the time. And so we've taken that approach on a lot of that stuff. If you flip back to that first page, this is really where we are working currently, and really the highlights. And so the financial response has been huge, and it has been awesome to see God work through all of that. We've interviewed and worked with 551 total cases. And so we're still navigating through some of those. There's still a lot of work to be done. We have 129 cases that are still open. Most of those at this point are major rebuilds, we need volunteer teams to come in and put up sheetrock and put in flooring and all that sort of thing. So we're navigating through that every day still. We have teams scheduled still from around the country and local people and churches and youth groups all the way through the summer. And so that's been an ongoing project right now, is just coordinating that volunteer response. We need it. Like, that's the way we shave off a lot of this cost. But in general, that's taken on a life of its own, of just coordinating volunteers coming in to help, and then making sure they have the supplies and the equipment and the tools that they need to get that house taken care of, in the specific house that they need to take care of when they're here. So we're still working through that. We have 72 of those cases, of that 129 cases that we've been out, we've assessed, we know that they're going to be major works. And so that'll probably be what we're working with for the next year. And of those that we've been able to close so far, those 422 that we've closed, we've done 19 RVs or mobile homes. We've got about 9 of those in the works right now as well. We've had a ton of people that, just about every case, these numbers kind of in the middle are just their primary need. And so many of these numbers, you'll notice, like, those don't add up to 422. Many of them are multiple, like they all, our approach is we want to walk with the long term. We want to walk beside them, have as many touch points as we can to help families realize that they are going to make it, that there's hope, and then get them to a place of self-sufficiency long term. And so it looks like a lot of different things. It doesn't look like just a transaction one time of, here, we're going to pay for this thing, go off and live your life. It looks like, here, we'll help you with this thing, but then we're also going to take you into the warehouse, get you furniture when you get back to the place where you're ready to go. It also looks like when the restaurant calls, like Moonshine Restaurant did from Austin the other day, and say, we want to provide 100 Thanksgiving meals. It looks like going back down through that list of closed cases and saying, hey, we want to come out and support you again. Can we come out and give you a Thanksgiving meal? That sort of stuff. It sounds kind of petty, I guess, in just by itself, but if we can layer in multiple touch points along the way, that makes our community stronger. It makes people feel like they're valued and that they're seen, that they have hope, and then it ultimately makes us more resilient as a community long term. Quickly, just the financial side, we've been able to steward $1.4 million. That's just what's hit the books so far. We probably have another $200,000 or so that's in the works right now of contractors being paid and stuff like that for those cases that we've been able to close so far. That has been in and of itself a testimony of God's faithfulness. And then just some of the other numbers of where we've been. Every case that is going to be a long-term case, we assign a shepherd from a church. It's just a one-on-one support. That's in the works. There's 109 of those. And then you see at the bottom of that chart is just the city distribution. And so it was very Burnet heavy. Marble Falls had a lot of cases, as you all know. And then we've taken in some that were in Kingsland. We've taken a handful that were even as far as passes. Had one in Spicewood, had a couple in Buchanan Dam, and kind of just scattered throughout. And so we take a very relational approach, like I said. That's where we're at now. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of volunteers to make it work. So if you know anybody that is still interested in plugging in, we'd love to have them come alongside. If you've got a skill set, if you've got time, we can put it to work. And so that's where we're at right now. Maybe if I have a couple minutes, answer any questions if you have any.
I have a question. On the 129 that are still open cases, are any of them being hampered or restricted or not necessarily, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but are they pending some sort of governmental action such as city, county, state, federal, before they, are any of those held up pending some other things that need to transpire?
Sure. Held up, I don't know. It's really just the process, right? Like, so that's kind of why it takes some time often for us to navigate through all this, because we're having to arrange, like, is there FEMA help available? Did you fill out all the paperwork? Is there something that we could get back in there? Same deal for the city. Burnett has a few that are trying to decide on buyouts and that sort of thing, and so we can't really get in there and do anything until the property owner and those entities kind of figure out what they want to do going forward. And so there are a handful, but I would say 10, 15, something like that. I don't have that exact number, but there are a few of those, and that's really why this is long-term recovery, right? Like there are so many of those little issues that can cause them to have a little bit of hiccups, and then that's why we need to be there with them and know what's going on, so we can kind of navigate through those issues as they run into them. And so we're navigating through all of those things right now.
Any other questions? Do you need anything from us?
No, the only thing I need is just keep doing what you're doing. I put in there some awareness of just some of our events and stuff like that. If you can help us get those ideas out and those events and things out and broadcasts. But I just want to thank you more than anything, because the support that we've received from this group has been incredible. We're completely, and sometimes people don't realize this, we don't take any government money, we don't take any state money. It's completely foundation driven, it's completely organizational, individual driven, and so this response has been huge, but because of you all, we've been able to make some connections that have resulted in some significant funding. The people, the trust and the relationships y'all have been working on have resulted in being able to be more resilient here. Jodan was instrumental and judge on the Capital Area Housing Finance Corporation. That donation of several $100,000 was able to help us get immediate, quick supplies. A lot of those mobile homes and RVs we were able to buy because of that money, and that was a result of relationships that you all have been developing for years, and the other counties seeing what was happening, and they could have sat on their money, but they didn't. They said, hey, we want to contribute through this mechanism to help you all, and so that was Blanco and Burnett and help me.
Caldwell and
Bastrop. And then Llano jumped in later as well and gave some afterwards. And so that's been huge. Things like that, if you have opportunities, just keep pushing them our direction. And just if there's something we can do to help support. There's so many good-hearted people, and that's been the testimony of my last 8 years of this organization, is just seeing God show up through people time and time again. And so anything we can do to help that more, give them opportunity to serve, please keep them coming our direction. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we'll call item B, Office of Emergency Management Coordinator.
Once again, Derek Marcio, County Emergency Management Coordinator. So, of course, on July 5th, we ended up getting in excess of 10 inches of rain across a large portion of the county. Radar estimates only go up to 10%. However, the gauges that we have through the LCRA Hydromet, we were able to determine we got anywhere from 15 to 24 inches at some of those gauges. So this wasn't a small event, and it occurred all within, 15 to 24 inches of rain falling over the course of an hour and a half to 3 hours, with a follow-on event occurring on July 13th that put another 5 to 6 inches of rain across the northern portions of the county and put the Lampasas River up to 32 feet. As a result of all that, we got to see the importance of the tools that the Texas Division of Emergency Management likes to throw at us. The ISTAT tool, the individual state of Texas assessment tool, and then the government version, the PSTAT. So from that ISTAT data, we were able to determine within about 72 hours that we had 400 homes that were affected by these, by these heavy rains and flooding conditions, flash flood that we expected. It was only reported at that time, 43 destroyed, 120 major, 131 minor, and 106 affected. From the PSTAT data that we collected, it was about $5.9 million of damage estimated to infrastructure across Burnett County, to include the city of Burnett. Now, I say all that because what this tool allowed us to do was to get declared for public assistance and individual assistance in what I would consider probably record time. Nothing that we usually see in any other disasters. We're usually expecting, sometime within about 30 days. We were seeing it at about the 2-week mark. In fact, July 13th, I think, was the day that we were approved for individual assistance by FEMA. So while that picture definitely wasn't a complete picture, especially according to data from the Arc of Highland Lakes and how many cases that they've had to, that they've been working, it's close. But it was that data, those pictures that go along with that data, that was able to, make that determination much faster. It allowed the state and the feds to work really at a fever pace. So out of that FEMA individual assistance, the way that picture looked, so 794 homes is what FEMA actually went out and inspected. Now, not all of those homes ended up being eligible, but it did end up with about $5.2 million being given out to Burnett County residents across the various housing programs and support programs that they have as a part of that individual assistance program. The short list of that, of course, is repair, replacement, rental assistance, and lodging reimbursement. Moving from there, the state took on quite the undertaking. Something that they haven't done previously, and I'd be surprised if they do it again. But at the same time, they have, stepped up to the plate in a way that I don't think anybody expected. And that's through that private property waterway debris operations program that they've been doing. Last update I have on that is for numbers on 12/4. Just from the city of Burnett, they've removed a total of 83,000 cubic yards at about 1,800 loads. Most of that being vegetation. Out of the unincorporated areas of the county, of course, 575,173 cubic yards, or 10,686 loads, have been removed from waterways here in Burnett County, from Hamilton Creek, Cow Creek, Three Forks of the San Gabriel, and Oatmeal Creek as well. The vast majority of that, of course, 572,000 cubic yards was vegetative, and just under 3,000 cubic yards has been that construction and demolition debris. Now, for actual haul out, because I'm sure if you've been out to the debris site, there's still a lot of mulch out there. They've only hauled out 46,000 cubic yards, almost 47,000. So it's taken a lot, but it's a big undertaking. And this is just from our county. They're also doing this in Kerr County and other counties, Travis County and Williamson County as well. But beyond that, one thing I want to say is a huge thanks to all of our organizations, public safety from Williamson County, Travis County, Llano, Blanco, all of our partners around the region, CapCog for the support that they gave, and also the state through some of their various programs that bring local agencies from other areas around the state to come in and actually do work. We see it all the time with TIFMAS, with wildfire, but also guess what? They will do general support teams, and that was one thing that helped us going back to those numbers for for the ISTAT data. Our initial reports came from them, from damage assessment teams that were assigned to TIFMAS that came into the county and helped us really flesh out that number. Beyond that, we had other folks from the Incident Support Task Force to come in and bolster our Emergency Operations Center and bolster our operations to make visions and concepts of operations actually come into fruition. They came from Denton County, Walker County, Rockwall, McLennan County. Folks who came from all over the state. Search and rescue teams, Texas Task Force 2, especially, for their search operations along Cow Creek and other areas here within the county. Those folks, Texas Task Force 2, is made up of teams that are put together out of basically North Texas, so Dallas, Fort Worth, that area. And a huge thanks, of course, for our local fire departments, police agencies, our state partners, game wardens. Too many to list, to be honest. It's in a disaster that we always find out, where the help is. And of course, I can't thank the Arc of Highland Lakes enough for the coordination that they've been able to put together with not only just our local organizations like the Community Resource Center, Texas Housing Foundation, Salvation Army, and also bringing in national organizations like the Red Cross. And the organization that they continue to put forth to end this long-term recovery. Now, at the same time, just to kind of set expectations on that, when they came in 2023, they were just finishing up the last house from the 2018 floods. And they had just started out of that ordeal as the Highland Lakes Crisis Network. Of course, they've graduated and changed names. But huge thanks. Like I said, words just don't do the justice to all the organizations and everything that came together to help all of our residents here in Burnett County. Any questions?
Questions? So, two infrastructure agencies that I didn't see any reporting or hear any reporting from, PEC or any of the electrical gas lines, or I should say, the two I was concerned about that I never heard anything was the rail lines and the power lines, but then did we have anything submitted in the PSTAT for?
So that wouldn't have been submitted to us.
I understand.
That would have been
Did we
submitted
have
to the
anything
state.
submitted on any of the other infrastructure?
Not that I saw. I could dig deeper into the data, but I imagine PEC had some marginal stuff. Most of this was, of course, on the ground.
Yes.
So it didn't affect really their infrastructure that was up in the air.
Okay.
Gas lines, of course, didn't hear anything from them.
And rail lines as well?
And then rail lines, of course, we know that the rail line here in Burnett County was compromised here on the south side of Burnett. They went back and it's fixed and running.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Thanks, Derek.
Absolutely, thank you.
Okay. Vernon County Auditor, Kelly Clay.
You skipped Herb.
Skipped Herb.
I'm sorry, Herb. Where is Herb?
He's right here.
Maybe I did it on purpose. Herb, you got?
Derek covered it.
Yeah. Okay, well then.
About the only thing I want to add is the CERT team, the local CERT team, really stepped up first hours of the disaster, helped us get the debris management side up and running. So kudos.
You stirred his pot, so.
I'm sorry, I have one thing on the very bottom that I wanted to touch on. That's the whole point of going into all those things. Sorry, but he said it absolutely perfectly, the CERT team. Our Burnett County CERT team, the Community Emergency Response Team, at the debris site alone, committed 88 hours of volunteer time, tracking loads and making sure that those individuals were the right, were from Burnett County. Now, the Multi-Agency Resource Center, much more intensive, 361 hours. So I just wanted to quickly give a shout out to those guys real quick.
Thank you.
Sorry, Herb.
No problem. I'm happy not to have much to do with emergency management anymore.
I think you stated your name.
Yeah, Herb Darling, who doesn't know me?
Only the tape recorder.
Anyway, like I said, the CERT team, it's unbelievable. When a disaster hits in a small community, and I've followed everything in the news, Kirk County has taken a tremendous beating in this event. But what people have got to understand, we're a small community, and we've got maybe 2 dispatchers on duty at any time. 3. We've got 3. We're fortunate. But that's something that's come out this week, the number of tapes they released out of Kerr County. And I've had an opportunity to look back on those. But what the general public doesn't understand is that local resources are quickly overwhelmed. And without people like Kevin and them at the ARC, without the CERT teams, without those, the faith-based community coming in and assisting, it's totally overwhelming, the support that Burnett County received, and enabled us to navigate this disaster and respond in a much quicker, more efficient, thorough way than we ever have. Being an old man, I have a lot of historical data, and so I've been through a number of these events, and every event that we've had in my tenure, I've always said, man, that was a great response. You know, you look at your local resources, what you're able to respond with, and the response you're able to make. And on a technical side, we have extended the temporary debris management side out until January 3rd, I believe. TCEQ has been great to work with on this anytime. I'm able to call their office and get an extension. I'm sure, Judge, you've seen the official notice come in. Yes, sir. And they've been great to work with. But like I say, you know, it's not over, I think. Kevin touched on that, and Derek did too. In 07, we had a pretty significant event, and I explained to my judge it's going to take 5 to 7 years to recover from this. And they looked at me and went, "You're crazy." And I went, "No, it'll take 5 to 7 years." And it does. It takes time. But with the number of groups involved, we're able to help people more efficiently and faster than ever before.
Any questions? So, Herb, is there anything regarding county developmental services permittings or permits or connections or septic things that are being affected by this?
We have fast-tracked everybody affected by it, made sure. We don't hold people up to begin with.
I understand, but there's nothing Commissioner's Court.
I've got a few individuals that I'm still working with that had structures destroyed, and trying to get, some of them are businesses, trying to get SBA assistance and stuff like that.
Okay, thank you.
But we turn it around within 24 hours if they need something. Anything? Thank you.
Thanks, Herb. Al,
Kelly Glazer, County Auditor. Our expenses to date, these are somewhat incomplete because we don't have them all in yet. But the expenses today, Precinct 1 has spent $59,820.22. Precinct 2 has spent $125,004.90. Precinct 3 has spent $108,574.28. And then the non-departmental other has spent $17,648.28. These are expenditures mainly for road base and other items. It's $311,056.68. We also have an encumbrance for professional services on engineering and reconstruction of County Road 340 and 341, also known as Mormon Road and Hamilton Creek. That is $594,441.20. And then we have had donated materials, and I have Precinct 1's completed at $484, and Precinct 3 at $14,677, for a total of donated so far of $15,161.67. Most of that is road-based, but we have some from Precinct 2 that we don't have turned in yet. And then in overtime, that we have finished the FEMA Cap C. We just have Precinct 1 finished in that total. There's $66,069.97. And then with Cap B, which is your search and rescue piece, we have $51,097.19, for a total of all these expenses, $1,037,854.71. But again, these aren't complete, and we have more to go. And we're expecting some of it back from FEMA. We just haven't gotten it completed.
Based on our actuals, and it'd be about 75% reimbursement is what they've been saying. But
Yeah.
we have to make sure we have the documentation.
Right.
All right, so anything you need from us?
No, I think we've got all the documentation for turning into FEMA. We just need to get that totaled.
Anybody else have any questions?
Thanks, Kelly.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
To the sheriff, you're coming in for him? Okay.
Alan Trevino, Chief Deputy, Barnett County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Boyd sends his regrets. He's at a funeral in Dallas, so he was not able to make it. Echo what everybody is saying regarding how prepared the county was to respond to this disaster. And if it weren't for relationships that we had prior to the disaster, in making phone calls, contacting our local EMS and fire and all the different entities that we contacted, it obviously would not have been as quick of a response. A couple of things, Art mentioned dispatch, and one thing that is kind of stands out is between the hours of 5 and 6 a.m., our dispatch took 160 phone calls for a response. So huge number for 3 people to be taking those calls and still handling those. We brought in additional personnel to work the front desk to take the load off of the dispatchers that were people calling in that were non-emergency. I could list a lot of things that we've done, but what I'd like to say is what we've learned from it also is we formed a great relationship with the Texas National Guard is one of the first entities that we called. We have since had a classroom training and a practical training on Bambi bucket drops, which is your fire buckets for helicopters, and they are now a resource that we're able to request in fires. Different types of training, but that relationship was built because of the disaster, and they approached us actually and asked if we could do training with them. They get a monthly training amount, and they want to do quarterly training with Barnett County. We're sharing that obviously with the agencies within the county, the fire departments, EMS, including emergency management, and TETM. We're all invited to the first training, and we'll continue to do those trainings. But they do fire, they do floods, whatever practicals that we want to go through is what they're providing to us. And the training that we did, they did actual bucket drops of 500 gallons of water, specifically dropped on certain locations, and they were at a location that we had 2 helicopters with full flight crews and ground operations, and then all of our individuals out there as well, participating in the exercises. Secondly, with regard to Chief Phillips, one of the other relationships that we have that we contacted is Texar, which is kind of a catches everything. They do all kinds of searches. They also have since contacted us within the last month to come back and do a search again of Cow Creek, and some of the discussion that they had was improvement with drones that have been made in this short amount of time, and then also additional water resources while the creek is back to normal for the amount of water. We've also been in contact with Travis County, who will attend Thursday. We're having a meeting with Texar and several other entities to discuss doing a search. It will be after the first of the year, but we are meeting this Thursday. We've included Travis County Sheriff's Office as well. because the bulk of the search will probably wind up being in Travis County, and obviously want to include them in that. They also have a number of strategic partners. They feel that because of the cooler weather, that the cadaver dogs will perform much better with cooler temperatures and also last longer on the searches. And they're bringing in as many, they've got the availability to bring in as many as 300 SAR responders and 400 support personnel to do a targeted search. And also at the time of the flood, they were torn between us and Kerrville. And so this is specifically for Barnett County and specifically in search of Chief Phillips. So those are some of the things that are results of the flood that we've been working on, both relationships and then also to continue searches. We've gotten a number of phone calls of found items, trailers, different items that we've been called to, and most of them, I think the two trailers that were reported are pretty much just frames and a little bit of material still with them, but just frames that are buried in the mud. But those are getting recovered to see if there's any interest or value there. And other than that, that's
Thank you.
the sheriff's office response.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay. So then that brings up agenda item F, authorize or requests or consider the request for proposals after action review and report in the amount not to exceed $25,000. Now, I did speak with CapCog, and they have vendors that can do this, but I felt that probably what we need to do is we've had all these different things happen, and try to make sure we typically after a major event like this, it's good to have an after-action report to document all the activities, document the people that were participating in it, and then document lessons learned that we can improve in future disasters. So I think it'd be very helpful for us to consider doing that, having an outside party instead of having, sometimes when you try to do that internally, people have a lot of feeling or emotion about how they did, or maybe a lack of perspective. And so having an outside person to go through all that, we have tons of documentation that the auditor was referring to earlier, lots of material that we can interview the parties and then write us a report that kind of show where we can stand to improve and possibly provide additional resources to be available for future disasters. So I'm recommending that we consider issuing a request for proposals for an after-action review and report in the amount not to exceed $25,000.
And this will be countywide?
Yeah, it would be for the entire disaster, wherever, we're just looking at the documentation and the participants and everybody. I talked to the sheriff, he thought it was a good idea to have a outside person look at it as well, and so when we spoke the other day, it'll still take like somebody like Derek as a project manager to oversee, make sure that whoever we select as a vendor has access to all the records and people and that they need to interview, including volunteers from around the state. So.
And where would this funding come from?
From the emergency management budget. We might have to do some line item adjustments later, select the vendor and know what the cost is.
I'd move for approval to authorize a request for proposals for after-action review and report not to exceed $25,000.
Second.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Dockery and seconded by Commissioner Byerly. Is there any public comment on this matter? All right, any further discussion? Close public comment. Any further discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, I call agenda item number 6 to discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding appointments for committees and boards. The reappointment of Billy Elliott and Bruce Cherry, which there's a typo on this item. I think of the original publication says Sherry. To the Burnett County Emergency Services District Number 1, board effective January 1st, 2026. The reappointment of Robin Richter to the Burnett County ESD number 6, board effective January 1st, 2026. The reappointment of Nancy Hanson and Herbert Holloway Jr. for the Burnett County ESD board effective January 1st, 2026. The appointment of David LeBlanc to the Burnett County ESD number 9 board effective January 1st, 2026. Is there any public comment on this issue? I close public comment. Do I hear a motion?
Judge, you made the clarification on 6A that last name is Cherry, Cherry.
C-H-E-R-R-Y.
And so with that amendment, I would move for approval of agenda item 6 in its entirety.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Dockery, seconded by Commissioner Collier. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Okay, I'm going to use my judge's prerogative to go ahead and call out agenda item out of order. I call agenda item number 23, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the following: whether to approve the purchase of a human resources software, if applicable, selecting a human resources software in an amount not to exceed $150,680, and if applicable, approve, sign, and execute all necessary documents and actions to enter into an agreement with the chosen software company in an amount not to exceed $150,680. Is there any public comment on this issue? Okay, I close public comment. Do you have a presentation? Somebody here to present, or you present?
They're presenting over the television. You don't mind,
Oh,
I'll
okay. Sure, go ahead.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to present this HR solution. We have on view here Bamboo HR, and they're going to give us an overview of the system, some of the things that we will gain, just feature rich, and then we'll talk through from that perspective operational enhancements and technical enhancement. And I apologize, my name is Greg Harris. I'm the director of the technology department. So T, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to turn this over to him for a second. I'm going to turn this up so everyone can hear, and we'll go from there. Please proceed.
Awesome, thank you, Greg. Well, it's nice to meet everybody. Glad to be here, and I've been working with Greg and the team for quite a long time now, and they've investigated our system very thoroughly, and we feel like it's going to be a phenomenal fit for Burnett County, so we're very excited. With that being said, I'd love to highlight some of the kind of a high level of the main benefits here, and then we're going to dive into the actual functionality of what the system can do. So first and foremost, the Bamboo HR platform will essentially take control and help automate things for the entire employee lifecycle. And what I mean there is all the things that employees have to go through, from starting with your organization to working happily with the organization to leaving the organization. So that looks like the onboarding process. That looks like storing their employee records and submitting change requests. If somebody wants to move from one department to another, how is that handled? If somebody wants to request time off, how is that handled? If the HR team needs to pull reports on employee trainings, employee performance, or other things like that, how is that handled? And so Bamboo touches all of those processes. And then on the back end, when it's time for an employee to move on and leave the organization, we need to do that in a very clean way so that data is kept secure. And so there's an offboarding process that helps with keeping data secure as employees are leaving the organization. So that's probably a 30-second overview as to what Bamboo HR will actually accomplish at a high level. And the value of using our product is we're so unique in the marketplace. Right now, most organizations are payroll and HR required, right? They would say, hey, you guys have to get rid of Tyler Technologies in order to use us. Bamboo HR is not that way, and that's why we're so popular among county organizations, municipalities, many city organizations, because these organizations, many of them are using Tyler Technologies. We work very well integrated with Tyler, and Bamboo HR comes in and helps automate the employee lifecycle for the HR team and many others. So with that being said, the first question that most people have for us is, if you're going to be handling employee data, what are your data security measurements like? Are those compliant? Are those up to our standard? Because there's going to be sensitive data inside of the platform. I'll share my screen here in a second, but all in all, I need to just be clear that that's our number one focus as a product. Because we're housing such sensitive data, we have to do that. And Bamboo HR is in over 200 countries internationally, right? So in terms of where our clients are located. In the European Union, they have a specific compliance metric called GDPR compliance. It's the most strict of any compliance in the world. And what we decided to do is make our entire product GDPR level compliant. And everybody in the United States, as they look over our compliance measures, everybody's feedback is you're well above industry standard. And I think it's because we've pretty much matched all security measures to the highest level of compliance globally that exists. And so hopefully that gives some assurance to you guys that you can very confidently put the employee data in here. We will take care of it. It'll not be mismanaged. So with that in mind, in terms of data security, I'll share my screen. Greg has access to this Trust Center from Bamboo HR, and this contains all certifications, security measures that Bamboo HR does. It contains all the information that we're able to share with data security. And so these are a few notable names on compliance. There's a lot more, to be honest, if we open it entirely, but I just at a high level, SOC compliance is extremely important. PCI DSS is very important, and on and on and on. If we go down here, when you go through this Trust Center, which is made available to everybody, you have access to our pen test reporting, our SOC reporting, product security information, reports on security, app security, data security, on and on and on. We make all of this available to you so you can really be sure that the data inside of the product is 100% totally secure. We also work with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of counties and municipalities nationwide. In Texas specifically, I actually sent over a list to your team a while back. Let me see if I can pull a couple names for you. Here we go. Yeah, so in Texas specifically, if you guys are familiar, Yoakum County uses Bamboo HR, Ellis County, the city of South Padre Island, the city of Belton, Galveston County Health District, so quite a few. That just names a few of the ones close to your size, but again, there's many, many, many others. Okay, so hopefully that is helpful, team, to understand. We're a very credible and reputable company. Right now, we're the #1 rated HR system in the market. We're the most flexible system because, again, we won't require you to switch payroll. We will integrate with Tyler Technologies, and it's very rare to find that combo. With that being said, here's where the real benefit resides for the HR team. I'm going to click this button here, and this is a snapshot of a Bamboo HR account. The HR team will now be able to have a one-stop shop for their organizational chart and organization directory, where they will be able to house the record for all staff that's a part of the organization. The way that these records get set up is through an onboarding process. And the onboarding process essentially is where, as people are applying to the organization, the HR team will be able to click one button that sends out a digital packet. I'll show you what it looks like here. Here we go. The HR team, as they onboard, can click one button and it sends out a full packet to collect everything that a new employee would need and that they need to collect as part of them joining the organization in a very effective way. This process will get very customized, right? The HR team will be able to come in and say, here's everything required, here's all the documents that need to be signed, here's everything that needs to be submitted, and that gets baked into this digital portal. One comment I'll share before continuing is we get great feedback from organizations of diverse demographics, even especially low technological savvy demographics. So whether it be the construction industry, whether it be maybe older staff, just people that may not be as tech savvy, we have great feedback that they pick it up very, very, very well. And I think part of that is because our product is not glitchy, it runs smooth as butter, and it's also very user-friendly to learn. This whole packet that you guys are seeing here can be completed on somebody's phone, and there's a mobile app that can be used for this as well, and so it tends to be very, very smooth for people. So if I was to go through this as a new employee, I would go through this welcome aboard message that you can customize. I can submit all my new employee information through this, and this is a secure portal. There's data security around this packet that allows them to confidently submit their social security number and other things like that. Today, they're literally writing this on a sheet of paper. That paper can be lost, it can be stolen, it can, it's susceptible to natural disaster, if there's flooding, fire, whatever may happen. That's what exists today in the organization. With Bamboo HR, they can submit this from anywhere they have Wi-Fi, and this is a secure portal that no one else can access except that individual. And so the data security massively increases using Bamboo HR versus continuing to do it on paper like you guys are doing right now. So people will submit all their personal details in the secure portal here. And as they go through this, there's some culture items as well, right? We'll have them do a team introduction questionnaire and all sorts of things to make sure people feel welcome as they join. And then this piece of the product here is full electronic signature functionality. So it's fully compliant with, federal government requirements when it comes to document signatures. And this has the ability where people can select, click on company handbook, and they can do an electronic signature. So what that may look like if they're doing this on their phone is something like this. In this example, this is an I-9, but it would pull up the full legal document. They hit start down here at the bottom. It'll guide them through every field they need to complete. So they'll say, hey, let's use the signature. Here's the date that I signed it. Okay, next. Okay, let me check that box. Next. I agree, right? And that document is now signed. So there's massive user-friendliness here that just makes this very, very easy for people. And you can add whatever you need to here. So that's the onboarding process, right? That shows professionalism in your organization. It shows you guys getting into the 21st century, and it also increases the data security again tenfold, because you can't misplace this, right? Where you can't misplace paper. The HR team is doing such a great job already today, but stuff like this will just help them even get to the next level. So once you would onboard somebody, what it will do is create an employee profile. And what you're looking at right now is essentially their digital record. So if you think today, somebody in HR says, oh, we need to go update the record or go pull the record for Charlotte. Okay, what filing cabinet is that in? And are all the records stored in the same place? Or what SharePoint file is that in on my computer? And are all of her records in the same place? Usually the answer to that is no. Not all the records are in the same exact location in a manual process like you're in today. So what this provides here to this audience to help them understand is one single place to go for all records about an individual. Now, naturally, you may be thinking, well, if there's going to be sensitive records as part of this, I have to make sure that the wrong people don't have access to these sensitive records. Well, you're in luck. We have something built into this called access levels. If you see here, it says manage access. And essentially, it's a very granular way to hide information from the wrong people that should not be seeing that information. So what it may look like is HR will have full admin access where they can see everything about someone's personal details, job details, time off details, their benefits details, all the documents they've signed, all of that person's trainings, et cetera, et cetera. However, if I was Charlotte's manager, supervisor, I may not need to see their trainings, or I may not need to see certain documents about certain things. And so those items can be hidden from my view. And it's very easy to set up. This is something Greg, I've showed this to Greg, he's very comfortable with this, and it allows you guys to have your own privacy inside of the product that's customizable to you. And again, it's very easy, I can't stress that enough. When you go to set that up, it won't be a scenario where you think you hid something from somebody, but you actually didn't hide it from somebody. That never happens in our product because there's previewing, there's so many measures we ensure to make sure that the wrong guys don't see the wrong information. But with that said, this allows you to have one place to go for all of this data. So I know a few important things for the HR team specifically is employee trainings. The way that trainings work in here is basically you'll put in a training library of here's all the trainings that are required for these positions, and it will auto-apply. So if Charlotte is on the HR team, she'll have a specific list of trainings for HR. If I was more on in the fire department, right, my trainings would be much different than that. If I was in the utilities department, my trainings would be much different. And so all of that will auto-apply based on settings in the background. There's a few other things here. So for one, Bamboo HR does provide required compliance training courses. So as a team, if they say, hey, we don't have a course right now for harassment training, or the other trainings that Texas requires by state law, Bamboo HR provides all of those. So if they're missing any today, we provide it as part of our service, which is helpful. The other thing this will coincide with is performance management. This is basically a way to track how employees are performing and to track a record of disciplinary action, to track a record of write-up forms, to track a record of employee progress. You can kind of tailor this to how you need this to work, but this also helps compliance because if terminations are happening, especially an involuntary termination, you must have records of what happened leading up to that, or else there's a lot of compliance issues with the Department of Workforce Services. And so that's another reason of why having performance and training and everything in the same place is such a big deal.
So, T, if I may, just in the essence of time, I know that we have, when we're going through technology evaluation, there is a lot to go through. And I don't want to bore everyone with this, but I think it's really important just to understand, what we lack today, what are our gaps, and how this is going to increase our efficiency, save the county money, and ensure us of the security measures that we are looking for in this county. I'd like to allow Shirley a moment just to kind of talk from the HR perspective, and we'll try to wrap this up as quick as we can. I apologize for the length of time, but Shirley, if you have a moment.
Greg, I have a question real quick.
Yes, sir.
Been generated out of this. presentation so far. What about the storage of the data? Is it stored on site and then redundancy again? So should that server be lost for some reason or other? Do we have it backed up somewhere else?
So Bamboo HR is what we call a SaaS solution, much like the Tyler solution that we currently use. So the data is backed up on their side in the cloud, and we would have also access to back up that data here locally, right? So the data is secure. It's in a AWS farm, which provide all the security measures, not only for commercial, but for government agencies.
And I'll add to that too. According to our privacy policies, you own all pieces of data that you would put into the product, and so there's never a situation where you would lose data that you would enter into Bamboo. We legally have to, let's say you were to leave Bamboo in the future, we legally have to release all data that you ever entered into the product.
And how we would retrieve that data is through what they call an API, which we use for migration and accessibility to data. And we would have a migration strategy that would allow us to move the data to the mappings of a new system if necessary.
Shirley Bullard, HR Director. I had a lot of notes that I'd written down, but again, in the attempt to save time, I won't go over all the bells and whistles that the new system would bring us. I can tell you that right now, HR is operating like Road and Bridge did some many years ago before they got big, heavy equipment. We're operating like we have a wheelbarrow full of road base and some shovels. It's all paper. It's all hurry up and get this done so that employee can go to work. This system puts some skin in the game for the employee and for the departments, and will be beneficial to the county because happy employees are what makes the county run. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. I've watched all of the presentation, and like you guys relying on your crews to do the road work, I rely on Greg Harris, who has the knowledge about IT, to get us up and going. If we can't afford the system, we're not going to miss any paychecks. But it will definitely be beneficial and save us cost in the long run. The cost for this is less than adding another employee. As we grow, HR is going to grow. Questions?
About 80%-ish, 70 is, everything you do is still all paper, right? If not more.
If not more. And, you know, paper costs money, those copy machines cost money, and they're going constantly.
And it sounds like this is definitely a direction you want to go.
Definitely. You know, like I said, I've reviewed the presentation. They gave us a test thing so we could go in and actually, like we were onboarding somebody, and it's very user-friendly. I found nothing wrong. If there was something that I didn't understand, then Greg was certainly there to help me.
Good. So from a technical position, like I've done with most departments to date, I made a promise in the beginning after accepting employment here that I would work with the department heads to understand their challenges, their gaps, and where we are technology. And so that's what we have done with the HR department in understanding some of the pain points that we have. Along with these pain points, we're also looking at cost savings. I think right now we have 2.5 FTEs, and we can grow substantially with that 2.5 FTEs or reallocate resources as necessary from the HR department. It's also going to, from a security perspective, allow us to be more secure as a county. We often get people who are being terminated. It's hard to get that word around fast enough, right? And so when there's a person being off-boarded, there are processes that needs to be adhered to, not just from a technology perspective, but from a security perspective, from the sheriff office perspective. And when they're coming aboard, the more time that that person is not working, is the more money that we lose per day of that resource not being productive. Our goal is to ensure that once that employee has been hired, all the trainings that are necessary, all the paperwork that needs to be signed is done prior to day one, right? That way when they come in, they're ready to start work. Once they are hired, the onboarding process is going to proceed to say, because it's this position, this department, here are the trainings that are necessary. Here's the technology that's necessary for this person to start. Here's the security apparatus that's the framework for this person to start. And we all, as a county, can remove ourselves from silos and work together as a team to onboard people properly and offboard them properly. But more importantly, make sure that the training that we have been so dearly entrusted to take to make sure that we are, in standard, that all employees have those trainings, and it will be documented according to the system, and we won't have to lose spreadsheets or anything like that to try to figure out who's done what. So that's like a high-level overview. At this point, I'll turn it back over to the commissioners and the judge for whatever the next steps are, but thank you for your time, and if you have any question beyond this, I'm available.
Do you mind if I share one final comment?
Sure.
Possible? Yeah, this will be quick. But to the audience here, two things I'll share briefly. Number one, Grady and his team have been extremely thorough with Bamboo HR. We've had call after call after call, test environment. They've been very thorough to vet us out, which is great, and I respect that. For me personally, I've worked with many municipalities, and there's one that's similar to you in particular. The city of Monroe in Louisiana. They have about 1,200 employees today. It's a very large city. And when I demonstrated this product to them, the chief financial director of the city called me after privately and said, this system will eliminate over 50 to 70 positions that we've already hired for. And I want to say that to you all because they just had the mindset that instead of investing in tech, we'll just keep hiring and hiring and hiring. And they got stuck in this situation where they pretty much had to downsize the organization in order to make it more efficient. And I think that the county of Bergen County is in such a pivotal situation where, 400 to 500 employees is the perfect time where you're not having to downsize, you're not having to get rid of positions, you're not having to disrupt the whole organizational development, and you can put a system like this in place. And with this, thanks for your time, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The quote attached, I believe, shows $48,157.20, but yet the agenda item says $150,680. Is that due to other bids quotes being higher, or what? Are we looking at multi-year, or what are we doing here?
No, so the quote is the 48K. That is the quote per year. The 150 was probably the next quote that we received.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So I have lots and lots of questions. So, but I would like to go ahead and set this aside, put it back in its order. I misunderstood what was happening today as far as doing this presentation. We've got lots of citizens here, and I apologize deeply to you for setting this so far in advance instead of giving you the chance. So unless there's an objection, I'd like to just set this aside back into its order, and let's take it up and get back to our agenda. Is there an objection?
But we'll decide, or we'll vote today?
Yes, yeah, or we'll either, we'll take action on it today, so, if that's okay. So, any objection? Okay, I hear no objection. I call agenda item number 7, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the state, it's called, discuss and take appropriate action accepting the biennial regional sexual assault response team report from the Highland Lakes Family Crisis Center. Is there any public comment on this issue? Close public comment. So basically, this is a required report that I believe every year we have to accept this report. I have reached out to the DA and the Sheriff's Office about possibly updating some of the names and signatories and things like that, and they'll be looking at it. But for right now, this is the report that's been submitted as required by law by the Family Crisis Network. So, any questions? Do I have a motion? Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Luther, seconded by Commissioner Dockery, that we accept the report. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
Is this my, oh yeah, it's still working. My battery's getting low. I just wanted to make sure it's still hot.
I call agenda item number 8, discuss, consider Judge Wilson's recusal from the Bell County East to Big Hill 765 kilovolt transmission project, LCRA Encore electric line issue. Is there any public comment on this issue? Okay. So I apologize. I just want to make sure that everybody understands. I provided an AG opinion from Greg Abbott. I've reached out for additional legal advice, and from now on, the only time I will recuse myself is when any of the actions affect the G4 line directly on point, or I have any kind of documented interest. Other than that, I will stay engaged on behalf of Vernon County. The two things I said from the very beginning when I proposed this, Vernon County's involvement, is I think we need to make sure that these power companies and anybody that's implementing this process is following the law exactly as the law has been prescribed under the legislature. And that the second thing is that we avoid any opportunity for neighbors fighting neighbors. So if G4 comes up, then and it looks like that, according to this AG opinion, that my interests will be different from any other citizen in the county, then I will recuse myself as appropriate. But I will not do that unless my interest is different from everybody else in the county. So there's no motion that needs to be done. I just wanted to get an agenda item and discuss that. Are there any questions, commissioners? I've already offered open and closed public comment. Is there any questions that you have for me? I don't think so. All right. I call agenda item number 8, discuss, consider,
That was 8.
Got to turn the page. Discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding updates and potential actions to the Vernon County response to Bell County East to Big Hill 765 kilovolt transmission, LCRA Encore electric line. Is there any public comment on this issue? Yes, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Nelson.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Just hang on, you'll be next. Sorry.
John Nelson, I'm resident of the Ranches Black Buck Ridge community, and that community is being impacted directly by the I-1 segment.
Can you move that up?
My community is being directly affected by the I-1 segment of the proposed route for the 765 kV through Vernon County. And I stand here in solidarity with my fellow residents of the community and the landowners of that segment, and one of the residents, Claire Nelson, who could not be here today. I would like to submit to you as part of our ongoing effort to get the line directed away from Texas in general. And we would like to welcome your support in helping us make this go viral. And this Christmas, we'd like to submit to you a gift of a protest anthem. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to all of you. Appreciate your continued support. There is a music video that goes with this. It's already online on YouTube and several other media platforms. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for letting me be here today and speak to y'all. My name is Heidi Perez. I live on the G6 segment of the 765 kV line. I am a single mother. I am a single mother with 2 children. One of them is special needs. And he will be in my home for the rest of my life. And I am here to put a face and a name to one of your constituents who is going to lose their home to this. We built our home in our small family ranch, and it represents everything we have in this world. It took us a lifetime to pay for it, to put our blood, sweat, and tears in it. It's everything we own. To have Encore put their lines about 300 feet away from my home is going to be devastating. An eyesore on the land we love. But even worse, it puts our home inside the distance for increased cancer rates, abnormal EEGs, altered biorhythms, decreased reaction times, which is going to be especially harmful to my special needs child. The value of my property will drop so dramatically that I won't have enough money to sell and go anywhere else. And then I will also be left with the ownership of the property that's under the line and have to take responsibility for maintaining an area that I will consider unsafe to be under. These towers are a threat to the health of our families, children, and the safety of our homes in this county. As our legal representatives, it is going to be your responsibility to help mitigate the damages from these towers to our citizens and the environment. Your constituents will need to understand how to minimize the electromagnetic radiation that will damage their families' homes, livestock, crops, their livelihoods. The county has been doing an excellent job of maintaining tree growth and controlling the tree growth in the rural roads. But we'll need more than that. We'll need better control of the trees that will be on the roads on the transmission lines. We will need an emergency plan that will cover for wildfires that are caused by arcing lines. We'll need safety plans for natural disasters, lightning strikes, tornadoes, high winds, and floods that will actually increase the risk of these downed lines and will cause grave emergencies. Not only will our first responders need more training, but also the citizens will need more training in these situations. It's going to be your responsibility to help care for these people in our district. I do appreciate your service and your time and your consideration in this matter.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else?
Hi, I'm Mary Lynn Norman. What I'd like to talk to you today, and I'll give you these. There's a letter I wrote to the PUCT, uploaded it last night, and I just want to go over a few facts with you. The ERCOT reliability plan has a lot of discrepancies. The first is that the information came from all the transmission service providers. So these guys only provide transmission lines. So that's an interesting little fact that many people don't realize. We don't get to see the information that was given to them, that the ERCOT used to make this line. What they were not looking at, because the information came from 2022 and 2023, was that we have moved to behind the meter with building our data centers. There are 8 data centers that are being built in the Permian Basin: Fermi, Landbridge, New Era, Helium, Chevron, Poolside, Pacific Energy, Google, and Sharon AI. Pacifico, Chevron, and Fermi will not connect to the grid at all, so they will not be pulling power. On top of that, we have Vistra, CRV, and New Power LLC. Those 3 power plants will be strictly for the gas industry. None of this is discussed in ERCOT's plan. So I want to point out a couple things that you'll see in your packet. The letter, but you'll see that our current U.S. grid cannot support the data centers that are coming through. Texas has the ability to do this. We have a ton of natural gas. We can build these power plants. Georgia has been discussing for 2 years and is finally getting to the point of passing, whether it's a code or a bill or a law, that is going to allow their data centers to build behind the meter. All right? They're doing it with clean energy. We do a ton of clean energy. We know that Google does all theirs with clean energy. Virginia is having troubles with their grid. Gentlemen, they are on the 765. The 765 cannot produce enough power for our data centers. One line of the 765 is going to give you 2,200 megawatts or 2 gigawatts. A power plant can give you 3,000 megawatts or 3 gigawatts. We've already got 3 power plants coming in that can go up to 3 gigawatts. They need 12 per ERCOT for gas and oil. Put another one in or 2 more in. You need 12 gigawatts, and this is for the 2038. Let's keep putting in those power plants behind the data centers. This shows you our ERCOT reliability plan is outdated. One thing I do want to draw your attention to is the very last page. Virginia has had such trouble, and I want to first say thank you. You guys are doing a great job. But I want to show you what's happening in the U.S. It's getting louder. They're looking at putting a data center in Round Rock and one in Taylor. That's in the middle of residential areas. We don't need to do that. Texas needs to take the lead in this. They're starting to do it in Virginia. The people who didn't oppose it, The people in positions like this position, city positions, they were voted out. So I'm asking you, you've stepped up, keep stepping up, keep helping us so that we don't see a change in leadership and we can keep moving forward and get this taken care of. Thank you, Judge. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anybody else?
This is Tom Green. This is a little impromptu, inspired by some of the other visits. First of all, I want to say, Judge Wilson, thank you for rescinding your recusal. I think that this entire body has been and will need to continue to be helpful in this process. I've, I guess, put aside some rather lengthy comments that I might have had for today, with the understanding that this agenda item may take us into another avenue for doing that. And so I'll just say thank you for that. Thank you for your support, and thank you for the leadership that you're showing.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment?
Beth Koontz, you guys met me a few times. I'll be real quick. I also want to thank you for the work that you're doing, but I want to ask for you to look into and perhaps work with us on some further ideas to bring our state level officials into direct discussions with us. Is it San Saba County? We saw a letter that they have sent up to ERCOT that's signed by all of their representatives and senators that represent their area. We've been on a writing campaign to all of our representatives and senators in this area. No response, zero. So we are now at the level asking for personal meetings all the way up to Governor Abbott. And I would like to ask you to maybe help facilitate bringing them in or having meetings or whatever kind of plan we can come up with together. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. So Commissioner Byerly, we put this on the, any other comment? Okay, I'm going to close public comment. We put this on the agenda to talk about things that we might want to do differently going forward. Do you have any specific ideas that you'd like to discuss? Or, I mean, I think that's an important thing, that we engage our elected officials at the higher level, Senate, and certainly our representatives and senators.
Right. Well, that's a perfect segue to what inspired, I guess, the putting this on the agenda. And after the last meeting, Tom Green and I were talking about, and we've seen a lot of public comment in here, and I guess the best way to describe it is we've talked about what we could do, what we should do, what we can do, and what we can't do, and things like that. And it's just talking about it with, we haven't been able to kind of form a plan because we do have our council representing us, and then once the project is filed, then there's the process of us deciding, if we're going to intervene and these different things. So between now and then, we were talking about what we can do is try to gather up all the citizens that are really invested in putting the time in to educate and find out more. And so we said, well, let's put a committee together. And then between then and now, we've kind of talked about, we're still going to put a committee together. I don't think we're going to deem it official by gavel, but we want to get as much help as we can. I've got a lot of names, but on her point, I had emailed Senator Cornyn, Cruz, and I haven't got an answer from Cruz yet. I'm going to keep trying, but Cornyn, I finally got a few emails back and forth and then pinged to the person who's supposed to give me some times to visit today. Or this week. We're going to try to find some time this week to talk about it because they said they don't know anything about it. So I'm a little surprised they haven't gotten anything, or I know that they have gotten some stuff, but the initial response I got was that they weren't aware of it. So I think it's going to take us all working together to sending letters and more of a unified approach, and not doing it in public comment and every 2 weeks trying to, the coulda, woulda, shouldas isn't going to work. So I want to figure out a way with y'all's input, and you tell me what you think too, is that we can set a recurring meeting, a open meeting, basically not for the whole court, but for the citizens to come together, talk about the things they want to accomplish, because we do have folks that want to accomplish stopping the whole project altogether, which is a very short window. If we want to try that, there's some things we have to get done. And then, of course, we won't get into the, neighbor versus neighbor. That's the hard part, right? We can't do that, and we said from the beginning we wouldn't. And that's why our council is trying to help us strategize how Burnett County can just protect Burnett County the best. That's the only way I know how to say that. And so we have a lot of folks here today, and there are some that are on my list not here today that want to be on this committee. And then the Hill Country Alliance is another group. Tom Green had mentioned it. I've been working with them. They already have some folks working on another line. They're willing to fold us in or vice versa and let us fold them in. And so that way we can all communicate better. So I'm going to open it up a little bit to some back and forth. If we set these meeting dates and then somebody asks me who sets the action items and who does them, well, I feel like that'll be whoever, we might have an action item where, or items says, okay, now we're going to try to get a response from crews. And so we go on a mission to do that, and not just one person is doing that. So that's, I don't think this will all funnel to one person. I did ask the judge if we could have an employee on our committee to sit in and listen for the communication piece. Jackie Haynes makes sense for that. She's the one who does our website updates. In the last court, we had a list during public comment of things that our website should say, and within an hour, we got it updated. So it was great. I mean, and so, and that's working together and trying to get that done. So she's going to be on the committee. We're going to try to figure out whether today or soon, whether it's deemed in this meeting or not, but what our rhythmic schedule can be to meet, but then also have, reports back, because you can't make every meeting all the time, and not every time is convenient for everybody. So that's the high-level overview of trying to get this committee together, because we got to get started. I would say our first meeting needs to be next week probably, and then pretty rhythmic. I've heard every 2 weeks. I'm open to suggestion. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've been talking to some friends in Austin about other kinds of permits that are also affecting our county. And it was kind of funny is that these people who do this professionally, one of the tricks that they do at the state level is they'll get everybody looking at one docket number or one item, and then they'll cancel that and file another one and then pursue that. So it really does need kind of regular attention is what...
You can subscribe to the PCT.
Yeah, right.
You'll get an update on every docket issue.
Yeah, and that's what they were explaining to me, how many of these large corporations, they get everybody focused on docket number 1, 2, 3, and then they file 4, 5, 6, and nobody knows. All the complaints are still back in 1, 2, 3, and there's no complaints on 4, 5, 6. So it's, again, this was not about power lines. This was about other kinds of permitting processes that cause problems for counties. So I just want to make sure we stay focused on that. So I'm okay, and General Counsel, I mean, you're going to have to give some guidance here. Excuse me. But I think we can meet with citizens as long as it's no more than 2 of us, and then don't talk to anybody else about it, correct? So we can, I just need to get some meeting locations and reserve some rooms and where we could probably start doing that on a regular basis. Mr. Green?
Yeah.
Is the timing okay? Come back up here.
Well, you said you had lengthy. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. 2 things. First is that the sooner the better in terms of committee meetings, even if they are Zoom or virtual of one kind. The other is that I've got speakers lined up for workshops as soon as we can get that done. People who will be very effective at letting all of us know what they know.
Great. Oh, that'll be good.
All right. I don't know that we need an action today, but I think by the 23rd, we can have a little bit better plan, and I can start working with you on organizing.
Yeah, because
We need to all be there, whether we can schedule that workshop periodically.
If we work, right. That wouldn't be a bad idea, where we schedule a workshop for information purposes, so.
Yeah, my initial list had 8 or 9 that have been real active, and then, or connected to those who are active. And, you know, Black Buck has a lot of active, and then Joppa area and Lake Victor and all that. So, and then Ocala, they're pretty active, but they hadn't been coming here as much, but they've been working a bunch. And so Mr. Iberg, Doug up there, has been keeping me in the loop. So he wanted to be a part of this when he can. But that's why I didn't schedule any meeting rooms or anything, because I don't know the size yet. So if we need a conference room for 20 people every meeting or what, we'll have to figure that out. And so I guess I'm going to throw it back, like, we need to figure out, finding the best date and time has been my biggest hiccup, I guess, figuring that out. And then people will prioritize it or they won't, I suppose, but.
Well, going into the holidays is particularly hard, but we can still set a meeting, add a Zoom component, and then get going. And even if it's not well attended, we can then launch it into other alternatives.
Yeah, we can do a Zoom component and then tie it into our YouTube so that they're archived a little bit so people can go back and watch them and then have input, or say, I can take that action item or I can be a part of that action item. Because it might be that we want 10 people to send crews an email and, you know, see if we can't get some energy or whatever. Well, I'm just saying, I think a lot of times, again, you come to us, help us, and we want to help, but a lot of times y'all's voices are way more powerful than ours, or at least together. So we need to.
Come and talk to you, we understand your power in this whole thing is limited, and that's why I asked for you to help get our voice out.
Right, and that's why I want to help coordinate. And I think this is, in my mind, the best way to start to coordinate it. I know it's been going on, but, so maybe I don't know the best way to start kicking around the ideas for the first meeting and then the rhythmic.
Can we have a meeting next week before we hit the commissioners meeting on the 23rd? And that way we can kick it together and put together the basis of what the committee's doing, what the goals are, where we're heading, who's involved, and then have something that you can report back to everyone else.
Let me have the opportunity to set a meeting up and send out some emails, and then I will reach out. Like I said, we'll make it multifaceted, especially the first one, and so then we can see if we can organize a charter. That's the way I used to do all my state committees, was having a clear charter about what that give me time to also just review statutes related to this, because there's many different components of state law that provide counties the authority to assent or provide opposition. It's usually listed like that in the statute itself. And so I want to get with general counsel. I want to see what the limits of assent or opposition can be engaged, so we don't break the law as the county. But that doesn't mean we can't work with our citizens to make sure that they're highly organized and able to reach the entire area. I'm going to ask Tom Green raised his hand first, but you'll come right back to you.
Okay, I'll make this quick. In that review...
We're still taping, so say your name out loud. And then
Tom Green.
Okay.
Yes, in that review of things you can do, please get very familiar with the 391 Commission. That is an opportunity to give county and a municipality or Desert County a lot of power that we don't have.
Okay, thank you. All right. Yes, however you want to do it.
Raymond Whelan, the Bulletin. I want to make sure that I heard correctly. Judge Wilson, you have rescinded your recusal?
Going forward, I have. So
Going forward.
I can't go backwards and rescind a recusal that I've already done, but I'm just saying, going forward, unless on advice of legal counsel, there's some action that the Commissioners Court would consider that would affect, again, I put the Attorney General opinion in the book. So if any action this Commissioner Court takes that affects me different than the public in general, then I will continue to recuse myself on those items. So if we take a position that a particular line is going to, that we're going to be against that line and in favor of other lines, then all of a sudden that just affected me personally.
Okay, my second question then is, why have you rescinded your recusal?
As I said, many of my constituents reached out to me about my lack of involvement based on legal counsel. I reached out, I found this opinion, I got additional legal counsel, and that they, and I could circle back to our legal counsel and feel that it's appropriate, unless I am personally impacted by this, whatever action that the court would consider, that I don't need to recuse myself.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mia.
Okay, my name is Mia Surratt. Two quick questions. One, is Margaret Pemberton still slated to be involved in the group? I just didn't hear it mentioned earlier, so I know kind of changed gears. So, second question, at this little committee or whatever it is, will the one or two commissioners involved be able to provide updates on what the county, I mean, I feel like we've asked for a lot of like, hey, can you guys do this? Hey, can you provide us with this information in our 3-minute public comments? I haven't seen a lot of follow-up on the website, absolutely, but I haven't seen a lot of follow-up on some of the details that we've asked for. So is that going to be able to be provided in this group, or is that something that can only be addressed in court?
Well, we'll have to look at it.
Okay.
No, there's a lot of coulda, shouldas, and a lot of the things that got brought up, we have nothing to do with, so.
Right, well, absolutely, yeah.
Well, so that's why you haven't seen or heard anything. We had a resolution, and as far as the official process goes, so now we want to dive into the other side, which is what a lot of those public comments brought out, were things that aren't in the normal path of things for the government. And so that's why it's like we need to dive in on this side of y'all's side, because a lot of that was more like things that need to be done from a landowner's and a property owner's standpoint, not for us to do. It wouldn't have done any good.
Right, I mean, some of it absolutely is, but I mean, there's a lot like emergency management and things like that that we obviously cannot handle. That is for you guys. And we haven't seen a lot of response on that and stuff. So I agree, there's some of it that is landowner, but I know my specific requests are definitely things that you guys can handle. So, okay, but that was all I had. Thank you.
Okay, we've been going almost 2 hours now, so is there any other public comment on this item? I'm going to close the public comment, and we're going to go ahead and take about a 5-minute recess, just convene back in about 5 minutes. And the time is 10:53.
He's coming, I think. About the last time we would drag him over here.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
What's one more?
See you later. Thank you.
So we're through with 9?
We're through 9.
Okay.
No action.
Great. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Not half yet.
We got a lot of agenda to get through.
Okay, I think we're going to, the rest of it's going to move pretty fast. Do you see anything else on there that's lengthy?
The plats will go fast.
We're not going to do it.
If that would have been Damon, I would have let the gate go.
Sorry.
Okay, no, thank you. All right, the time is 11:01. We're reconvening. Call agenda item number 10, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the developing a countywide policy dedicated to providing equitable access for county digital services by April 2026 to comply with federal law. I really don't have an action ready for you today on this, but I needed to inform the Commissioners Court as well that it's that 4 counties have been sued so far under this new federal law. The implementation for our size county is going to be April 2026. We need to, so what it is basically if the standards for digital access or for accessibility for people blind and handicapped and how even the contrast, there's a lot of new rules, and currently our website does not provide a lot of the requirements to that allows people that are handicapped or disabled to see the material. So, but right now what we have is everybody is kind of farmed out on their piece of the web page, and that's going to put us at great risk. So far, the Texas Association of Counties on all 4 lawsuits have successfully entered into settlement decrees and not. Not settlements instead of consent decrees. So far they've avoided the federal courts taking over any of the county websites. Now, the sheriff has a lot of material on theirs. We have the library, I think, on theirs. They manage a lot of their own. But on all of these lawsuits, the county is liable and was sued directly. So we need to start talking about, and I need some direction on how we're going to move forward. Some of it is related to the software. Some of it is related to the processes that we have in place about who can access our material. Are they putting alt tags on there? One of the things in this federal law is if we archive material, that's not subject to the accessibility. So like the auditor, I don't know, what do you have, 15, 20 years worth of comprehensive annual financial reports? If we push that into an archive file and just keep the current one up, for instance, I'm sorry I'm pulling you out of an example, but that's a very complicated report that would have to be digitized, and it would have to be like every picture, like even on our budget document that, we have the Joppa Bridge, it would have to come up and say, this is a picture of the Joppa Bridge. I was in Ireland a few years ago, and one of the things you can watch TV and it'll just read, the lady got up and walked across. She grabbed the door handle, and I hope we're not going to go to that level of accessibility, but who knows? It was, but we do have to start talking now. So I don't have an action item. I don't want to, but do you have any input about how we should start approaching a policy to make sure we don't get sued.
Does TAC have resources for this?
They do
for
have,
being
CIRA
able-
has some resources in there, but I might misunderstand, but the software that they currently use is similar to the software that we use and doesn't quite meet the threshold of requirements. So, Greg, do you have anything to add on this?
Greg Harris, Director of Technology. What I would recommend is that we take a step back and we do the assessment. I will be a part of that assessment, and I can help get us to where we need to go through evaluation process and technique, right? The ADA accessibility is not something that's very new, right? It's just we are also going through a migration to .gov, and I think in cooperation with doing the migration, we can use the April timeline as a guide so that we could try to also migrate the websites to an ADA compliant and also make it accessible from a process perspective for all the departments, so we can tie that into it as well. So I'd be more than happy to work with whomever to do that. So.
Okay. And mostly that's the technical aspect, but mostly what I'm talking about is we need to start looking at the policy aspect of who has access, how many different people get access. Do we have a clearinghouse where somebody in IT, in my office or somewhere that can say, I want these changes. So I'm just going to say, we're going to do the CAFR in about April when this comes due. This CAFR comes over, then we have somebody looking at it. Is it accessible? Remember, the ADA is not new, but this new set of standards that's already, so larger counties over 100,000 went in last April, 50,000 go in this April, and less than 50,000 go in April of 27. So this is not a new thing, it's just the standards have been greatly increased in this new requirement. I was looking over them last night, and there's 30 pages of new requirements that haven't been part of the website accessibility standards before. It was quite, I just wanted to remind myself, and I was surprised at how detailed it is. So
I would say if you're to start formulating it, even the bigger counties, whatever policies they put into place, see how they work and what works and what doesn't, maybe. That's a start.
Yeah.
Instead of from scratch, I suppose, but maybe
Yeah.
TAC has some insight on that.
And once again, from a process perspective, I think that the process rears its head from how we operate as a county, which entails if there's information coming from a department, the department head is responsible to ensure that that information is correct. Currently, what we're using as a stopgap, because we're extremely busy, is that Ms. Haynes is working through making changes, and those correlations can go from department head through approval cycle, and once things have been approved, and then she would be authorized to make those changes. So it's just a throw out there, but we can definitely get into documenting this process.
Okay, good. Any public comment on this issue? Okay, close public comment. Like I said, I don't need a motion, so if you're okay, unless somebody has a motion, I'll pass on this item. Call agenda item number 11, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding establishing a policy requiring all contracts which Burnett County serves as administrator to be executed. This is something by other parties prior to the Commissioner's Court approval. This is something that the General Counsel and I were talking about, but I don't have a draft policy today, so if you're, unless there's I think the General Counsel and I will draft a policy and then have it submitted for the next Commissioner's Court. Unless there's a objection, I'll pass on this item. Call agenda item number 12, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action on whether prior written authorization obtained through the agenda request form, either by the county judge or supervising commissioner, is required before any action may be taken by the Commissioner's Court. I think we adopted that new form a few weeks ago. Madeline, how did I put this on here? Was this, anyway, can we pass on this item by general consent? Okay. I call agenda item number 13, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action concerning the request for a replat of Lot 1 Brushy Mountain Subdivision to be known as Lot 1A and 1B Brushy Mountain Subdivision, a division of one lot into two.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Herb Darling, Burnett County Development Services. Brushy Mountain is a large acreage subdivision that was platted some years ago up on the northwest end of the county. It was platted in large tracts with the ideal that they would come back and break them into smaller tracts. What we've got before you today is an approximately 475 acre tract that's being cut into a 70 acre tract and leaving a remainder 400.
Okay. Is there any public comment on this issue? Okay, I close public comment.
Move for approval.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Luther, seconded by Commissioner Byerly that we approve this item. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 14, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action concerning the request.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioner.
Concerning a request for a variance from the Burnett County subdivision regulations by Sandra Radacevic for a 4-acre tract out of 23-acre tract known as BACD parcel number 52627.
Herb Darling, Burnett County Development Services. Again, I'm glad you had to say that last name and not me. It is a request for a 4-acre tract out of a, I believe, 20-acre, 23 acre. Thank you, Commissioner. Acre tract. I have concerns with this given the fact that it is in the proposed groundwater management area for the Central Texas Groundwater Conservation District. At the present time, they are considering either a minimum of 5 or 10 acres per tract up there in that area. So I'm of the opinion, but it is the court's pleasure, I would recommend denying this request for a variance. But it is Commissioner Byerly's precinct.
I concur with her, Darling. There's just not, I mean, there's no water studies on this tract, and everything is pointing to where we're heading in a much larger tract direction for wells. So I don't want to concern.
So I'm just going to ask the question. So, I mean, apologize if I'm a little bit ignorant on this, but the options in the past have often been related to somebody wants to do something a little different, like that they can do a water study to prove that they have sufficient water under this. Is that
yes, sir?
Is that an option for us in a subdivision?
If this person wishes to go through the process, they can do a groundwater availability study and submit it for a plat.
Okay.
Or they could drill a well.
Even then, though, you don't realize the impacts on the surrounding.
Okay. So is that the two options, is we can require them to conduct a groundwater study for this tract?
Right. We're not denying them the ability to subdivide their property. We're just telling them there are other steps they have to go through to do it.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
There is a third option. It would be that it goes to the 10.01 acre minimum, and then they're free to do it.
They're exempt.
They're
Yes.
exempt at that point.
Increase the tract size to 10.01.
That's another option.
10 acres and over, you don't have to.
I understand, right. I'm just saying, so in this case, okay, I apologize. So just one more time. The one is we deny this variance, correct? Second is we can say we would consider it at a future date if they did a groundwater study. And then the third one is that I mean, again, we're not going to be in the business of telling them to go to 10.1. So that, again, those are the only two options, is either if you want us to consider this as a replat, then we would require that for us to take any further action, it would have to involve a groundwater study, or deny this variance.
Yes, sir.
Or approve this variance. Okay, that's the three options. Approve this variance, deny this variance flat out, or say we'll consider it if you complete a groundwater study.
Yes, sir.
Is that the three options?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, I think we've held several times already in this general neighborhood or this part of the county, we're under this considered management area where we've actually denied several 5-acre variances already, just since I've been on the court. So,
yes, sir.
So given those three options, do I hear a motion?
I'll move to deny the request.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Byerly and seconded by Commissioner Luther to just flat out deny the request. I don't mean flat out, but just deny the request. I apologize for the commentary. I don't mean that like that. Any further discussion? Is there any public comment? I close public comment. So any further discussion, Commissioners? Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes to deny the permit. I call agenda item number 15, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action concerning the preliminary plat approval for Mint Creek subdivision, a private subdivision consisting of 3 lots on 22.81 acres located at 1441 County Road 323A. A portion of lots 1 and 2 are located in Williamson County.
Yes, sir, and it's basically like the agenda item said. It's a unique area in that 2 of the tracks already have structures, wells. They're creating 1 tract that's actually going to be over 10 acres.
16 and some change.
Yes, it's a larger tract, and it is a preliminary consideration only.
All right, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, I close public comment. Do I hear a motion?
I'll move to approve the preliminary plat.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Collier, seconded by Commissioner Luther, that we approve the preliminary plat. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen.
I call agenda item number 16, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding acceptance of a donation deed from Hickory Pass LP on approximately 4.4 acres of land on County Road 328, aka Cow Creek Road, for the right-of-way ownership for public access. Potential acceptance includes granting authority to Burnett County Judge to sign appropriate deed and other related documents. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? I close public comment. Commissioner Collier?
Just a little backstory. Mr. Johnson with Hickory Pass is basically giving us the ownership of our right-of-way.
Oh, okay. So it's where we already have a road.
We've already got a road. He's just giving us the ownership of it.
Oh, nice.
We have a survey attached?
There's a survey. I don't know if it's attached, but there is a survey of it.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask if there's any other.
It is attached.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
It's 4 acres, but it's pretty, it's long.
Okay, excellent.
And with that, I move to accept it.
Do we have a deed drafted yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Already have a donation deed.
Okay. It's in the packet.
The county attorneys.
Okay.
Okay.
It's been moved by Commissioner Collier, seconded by Commissioner Luther. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 17, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action authorizing the Burnett County Sheriff's Office to purchase 1 vehicle for the amount that does not exceed $50,000. Did this get removed? This is the Heart of Texas? Okay, so we're going to, right, thank you. We're passing on that item. It's already been taken care of. Didn't need a commissioner's action after all. But last week I didn't know that. So call agenda item number 8. Is there any is that okay to do that by general consent, commissioners? Okay. All right. I call agenda item number 18, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the established vendor to outfit the new vehicle to be approved has this been taken care of as well, the upfitting?
Is it the same vehicle?
It's the same vehicle, right? With the upfitting for the Heart of Texas? Okay, apologize. Number 18, skip.
No action on 18?
No action on 18. It was part of the same vehicle. I call agenda item number 19, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding approval to move forward with the acquiring appraisals to issue a purchase order to Pinnacle Consulting Group per independent contractor agreement dated February 13th, 2024, in the amount not to exceed $177,750. Is there any public comment on this item? I close public comment. Commissioner Docker.
This pertains to the Wirtz Dam Bridge project. We have 16 parcels that have been identified. As you can see from the date of the original independent contractor agreement, this has been ongoing for quite some time, waiting for easement locations from PEC and LCRA. We've acquired those now, or received those, not acquired them, but received those, and we're ready to move forward with the surveys, and the survey work falls under the independent contractor agreement that we did with the engineering firm, but the appraisal work does not. So, well, actually it does, but we have to do it under separate cover. So I'm asking for you all to approve the appraisal fee for those 16 tracks. And I'd move for approval.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Dockery. Do I have a second?
I'll second, but I have a question.
Okay, well, okay. So it's been moved and seconded by Commissioner Byerly. And so is there any further discussion? So go ahead.
The funding, where does that come from, and is this part of the reimbursement funding that we get for that?
This is not part of any reimbursement, but will come out of existing tax notes that we've previously issued.
Okay, so it's been...
It's part of the tax note process that we've already set aside for the Wirtz Dam Bridge. Okay. So, and just kind of a quick overview, there was an engineering, so far all the engineering has been reimbursed by TxDOT, so we're over $3 million now. And we've submitted those, and then we pay for them out of the tax notes, and then they reimburse the tax notes so we can acquire the property. But after the initial engineering plats, they found some Indian cooking rocks, and then they made a determination that the original specifications were too close to the bridge, so we've re-engineered it now based on LCRA. And then so this, what Commissioner Dockery has identified is, now that we know where the buried cables and the fiber optics and all the utility lines need to be moved to, we need to go inquire with the property and place it. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 20, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action to distribute the 2025 traffic counts to the Commissioners Court for review and to ensure traffic counts are correct prior to the Burnett County sending the traffic counts to outside entities like Campo for the transportation plan and TxDOT.
May I?
Yes, go ahead.
Judge, we took the information that we received from the printed form of our traffic counts, and I worked with our GIS department, and they placed it on a countywide map. I apologize that the one in the book is so small you can't see it, but you should have received that map. You just need to review that and make sure that you believe that they're correct, because those counts will be used when we do our countywide transportation plan update with Campo.
Okay, and then we also have the electronic versions as well, correct?
Yes, yeah. Just trying to make sure we disseminate this information to all the parties and know that it's going to be used in the future.
Okay, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, all right.
I don't know if there's any action needed today, sir, other than just distribution, and if we want to at a later, if you find it an issue, then we need to put it back on the agenda at a later date and get that corrected.
Because we had an agenda item to accept all of these already a few weeks ago from the vendor. So if you find any errors or problems, let's bring it back to Commissioners Court if we need to address it. Okay, I call agenda item number 21, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action for the engagement of Patillo, Brown, and Hill LLP for the FY25 Burnett County financial audit in the amount not to exceed $47,000. Is there any public comment on this issue?
Yes, there is. Thank you. Commissioner Luther.
Yeah.
I have handouts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. Claire Nybro, Burnett County voter, taxpayer, and interested person. Since September 2019, the county has retained Patillo, Brown, and Hill as its auditor under a contract that has now been renewed multiple times without competitive bidding. Former Burnett County Auditor Karen Smith publicly stated last year that it is past time to rotate auditing firms. I respectfully ask the court to take 2 actions. Number 1, direct staff to immediately initiate a fully compliant competitive request for proposals process to select a new independent auditing firm for the upcoming comprehensive annual financial report audit. Rotating auditors is a recognized best practice, and we are well overdue for it. Number 2, place an agenda item at the earliest possible meeting to establish a firm start date for a complete, independent forensic audit of the county's finances. My review of past Commissioners' Court minutes found no record of a forensic audit ever having been conducted, and I have been told anecdotally that at least 20 years have passed since the last one, if one was ever performed. Finally, I am submitting for the record a letter from Joanne Fleming, Executive Director and Acting President of Grassroots America, We the People. In that letter to the Smith County Council of District Judges and Smith County Auditor Karen Smith, and yes, this is the same Karen Smith who served as Burnett County Auditor until April of 2025, Mrs. Fleming makes the identical request I am making today: a full, independent, and compliant forensic audit of all county financial records and related reports. Commissioners, the citizens you serve deserve absolute confidence that every tax dollar is accounted for transparently and accurately. We also deserve the fiduciary duty and due diligence that you, as elected stewards of public funds, are legally and ethically obligated to provide. Rotating our annual auditor after 6 years with the same firm and finally conducting a long overdue forensic examination are not radical ideas. They are basic safeguards of good governance that peer counties routinely follow. I urge you to act without further delay on both requests. The integrity of Burnett County's financial stewardship is in your hands, and the public is watching. Thank you for your time and your commitment to doing what is right.
Any other public comment? Okay, I close public comment. You want to say anything? What's being asked here?
Kelly Glazer, Burnett County Auditor. Judge and Commissioners, Patillo, Brown, and Hill meets all required federal, state, and professional compliance standards for governmental audits. Continuity in this stage of the fiscal year is critical. Changing firms now would disrupt required audit planning and increase the risk of noncompliance with state and federal reporting laws, which would delay the audit, jeopardize eligibility for grants and reimbursements, and negatively affect Burnett County's bond rating due to untimely and inconsistent financial reporting. To ensure compliance, protect the county's financial standings, and to allow the audit to begin on schedule in January, I recommend that the court approve the engagement letter from Patillo, Brown, and Hill this year.
Thank you, Ms. Glazer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd move for approval.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Dockery, seconded by Commissioner Collier. Any further discussions, Commissioners?
The only thing I would have is that if it's too late this year, when do we go out for RFQ for next year if we want to look at other firms? At what point? What's the timeline?
At the point that the audit has been presented before the next day.
So
March, April timeframe?
Yeah.
Usually April, right? Most of the time, it's the first or second week in April. Okay. And are you okay with that in the future, just going ahead, putting it on get it on the calendar for,
Sure.
Do an RFQ for future years? Okay.
Sure.
All right. Madam, make sure that it's on our calendar. All right. It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 22, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action to increase Bergen County payroll obligations by authorizing Sheriff Office non-exempt employees, specifically those required to work shift and to roll over vacation leave hours in excess of the personnel policy allowances. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Okay, seeing no public comment, close public comment. Basically, we have a policy, I think it's 80 and 120 based on the years of service of each employee, but because the shift workers often can't take leave in a timely fashion, this allows them to roll that over into next year in excess of that. If they accrue it by the end of the year, they'll be able to roll it into next year. Is there any questions about that?
What are we changing the maximum to?
Well, you're just allowing the shift workers to roll whatever they have available to them. Is that correct? We don't have, there's no proposed maximum. In the past, we've allowed them to just roll it forward. I'll let Mike have a stab on it. Yeah.
Captain Mike Sorens from Bergen County Sheriff's Office. It's just to roll over the accrued hours that they currently have because of the staffing issues and things like that they can't take that time off to get that accruals down. We've got guys in the jail with, 250, 300 hours that they're going to lose. Same on patrol. So we're working on it, but the staffing will help throughout the year. Matt's got a plan in play. I believe that they've worked on it also. We've knocked some of the time down already, but it just takes time because it's a lot of hours.
And so, to be clear, I mean, if any of those, like the guy has 253 hours, and this also you, Shirley, if they were to leave, they only get the 80 hours or whatever the policy is for payout.
That's correct. Whatever the policy is, they get paid out for.
Yeah. So the accrual, while it's technically a liability on the county from a fiscal standpoint, it's not. I mean, we do have a limited liability, Kelly, if I'm saying out of turn, but we do have a limit on the liability that the county, it could show up on the books one way, but it's not going to exceed that 80 hours.
Right, and it has happened before where guys have left, they get paid for 80, they might lose another 100 on top of that. Right. They know they're not going to get paid for it. But at least we give them the opportunity to try and burn that down over the next year if we can do that. That's what we're trying to accomplish.
Thank you for that explanation. Appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Collier, seconded by Commissioner Luther. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 24, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding budget. I think.
You're under 23.
I'm sorry.
That was, that's 23.
Oh, it's not here anymore. Right. Sorry. It got moved, didn't it? Sorry about that. All right, now we'll come back to item number 23, which was to, I'll go ahead and read it again, apologize. Discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the following. Whether to approve the purchase of a human resources software, if applicable, select a human resources software in the amount not to exceed $150,680, and if applicable, approve, sign, and execute all documents necessary to the actions and enter into an agreement with the chosen software company in an amount not to exceed $150,680. So we've heard the presentation. I guess at the beginning, my first question, I said I had lots of questions. I guess I want to know what problem we're trying to solve. You want to take that, Ms. Bullard? So.
Well, as Shirley Bullard, HR Director, as we discussed previously, most of our work in our office, in the HR department, is paperwork. It's not very secure. It can be misplaced, it can be lost, it can be damaged. And we touch those papers several different times. The employee fills out the paperwork, we take the paperwork and put it into this portal or that portal or wherever it goes, and then combine it all, put it back in a file. The insurance files and anything that's HIPAA or anything that would not be released readily to the public is in a separate file, and it's in a separate file cabinet. We're trying to streamline the processes, make them more efficient, make them more secure, more cost-effective. We're trying to come into the 21st century.
Okay.
Well, that, based upon this quote that's attached, the 15680 is not what we're discussing, right? We're discussing the 48,000.
48,000 plus some 4,000.
I just want to make sure I was
Yeah.
correcting my assumption, because we're only doing a one-year contract, are we not?
All right. And so I guess the other piece of it, so in HR, in general systems, there's HR involves a set of documents, trainings, things like that, but they also involve payroll. Is that done in the auditor's office or the treasurer's office?
It's done both between the treasurer and the auditor.
Okay.
And it's all done in time.
Okay. Okay.
The payroll.
Right. And so nothing in this software is going to be affecting payroll or payroll or the accrual of leave and the because you're tracking the liabilities also in Encode? Okay. So, and how is that, have we identified how that leave is going to be kept up with and interfaced with Bamboo between Encode? Is that?
Well, it would be probably a lot more efficient. I don't know exactly how it's done, but right now, leave is in time clock.
Okay.
And it is transferred from time clock, which is a separate
a different
system.
Portal or system?
Yes. And it's through API, goes into Tyler, into Encode. Okay. I'm assuming that Bamboo will work exactly the same way.
That's correct.
Okay.
So one thing, when we get a new employee, I did notice back when I was a little more involved in that process, I guess, like a new employee got hired, but they didn't always get all the stuff, like how to put in an IT ticket, how to put in a maintenance ticket, things like that. They just kind of learned if somebody happened to tell them. This is going to help when a new employee gets here, have that stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And it's also going to help HR because department heads are going to put a little skin in the game. They have items that they have to submit to us to hire this new employee. Whereas now, sometimes employees have been working for 8 hours before we're notified that they're an employee. They haven't come into the office. We haven't done E-Verify. We haven't done anything. So.
And then as far as funding for this first year, have we identified the funding?
We have. So from a collaboration with HR, we have given the funds from our budget, and it's to be approved as a line item transfer because we feel like this is so important from a security standpoint and an operational standpoint. We as a technology department are likewise put into predicament of a person being hired, have no idea the person sitting in the office, that's loss of revenue. But at the same time, we are being rushed. We need X, Y, and Z today. As you know, as we are coming into the 21st century as well, we have a lot of projects that are going on and are not readily available at the last minute, and we don't want to slow down that process of being able to get people onboarded properly.
And sorry, I'm just, as this helps track, if an employee comes on, this software knows if they get issued a phone or a computer, and then kind of tracks it, in the offboarding process. Then there's a way to close it out to say the phone's back, or whatever.
Yeah, the department head should give us the requirements for that employee. Right. They're going to have an email address. They're going to have a phone. They're going to have whatever they have to have. and they have to be background checked, they have to be certified, the different requirements. We can require cybersecurity training within 30 days after hiring. There's a lot of things that we can do that we haven't been doing because we don't have the capability to do them.
Yeah, I got you. So, Ms. Bullard, we've had several manager, department head meetings over the last few weeks, a few months since I've been here. I don't remember this being elevated as a major concern. Was there some reason it didn't come up at the department head meetings or get elevated to me before we looked for a solution?
Well, I think I skipped the last couple of meetings, but no, I didn't bring anything up because the department heads that we were in the meeting with weren't guilty of.
Okay. But whatever the problems that's driving this, you never felt like you needed to come talk to me about it to let me know?
No, we just complained to each other because what else can you do?
Well, you generally come talk to the judge and listen.
Okay.
So going back to the line item transfer, one of the things that when we were doing the budget negotiations and there's a lot of the money that was moved in, one of the things I insisted on was removing the labels that were in the budget, in the public budget, to take off the what was supposed to be on there because I felt it was a cybersecurity risk for people to publish out to the public what kind of softwares we were using both internally as well as in the departments. And so a lot of that money that got placed into that line item was for departmental use, in which this would be one of those things. But I know recently, during the budget process, we had turned down the district attorney for having a separate software line item because we had put the money over here. Recently, the DA had to spend, I think, $15,000 or $30,000 doing their own software. So I think before we do any transfers, we probably need to have an agenda item where we sit down and look at what was originally in there with in that general IT software budget, and then see what, I know my department didn't have any software budgeted, but we just paid $1,500 or $2,000 out of software because I was under the understanding that was going to be paid for by the software. We were trying to aggregate the cost of IT software into the IT department. So I think what's going to really be necessary is to maybe set this item off. I'll even make a motion to table it to the next meeting and look at both the software, how that software line item is being used and whether it's as intended for our department, and then also examine some of the other questions that I have about how training will be tracked and all the different statutory and legal training requirements. I think it'll take
That is in the software. Yes, so all the training associated with current cybersecurity harassments and all the things that you would normally have will be tracked through.
Well, hang on just one second. I make a motion that we table this until the 23rd. Is there a second? I'm not against it, but I think we need to do some work on where we are today on this particular software. It feels like a solution that's looking for a problem, and no problem has been brought to me. I believe that I do want to get into but I am really concerned about how this interfaces with all the other systems with Tyler. If we make a decision today, then that preempts decisions that we might need to make in payroll and other areas. So I'm asking for a second.
I'll second it, as long as it'll appear on the 23rd agenda.
On the 23rd. Okay. It's been moved and seconded that we place this on the table this until December 23rd.
We're just kicking the can down the street.
Well, no, we're going to, I'm really concerned.
If they vetted it and it's in his budget,
his money, I mean, if he comes back and runs out of money before his budget's over, that's on the head of the department, in my opinion.
But again, when we were setting up the budget in August, and when we adopted the budget in August, the department's budgets for like the DA, for the county judges, the auditors, all that money was placed in that $175,000 or $200,000. And so it looks like it's IT's budget, but that's where we place, a lot of it was because he's got cybersecurity software, he's got, I don't even remember the name, but they used to be listed in the thing, and we re-upped that money, and we added about another $75,000 and stood here and told DA Thomas that we weren't going to give him that $15,000 because we would take care of it in the IT budget. And so there were several other places where it's not all IT's budget. It is the budget for the county for all different kinds of softwares that we placed in there as budget officers.
So the DAs were paid for through that budget, on their budget?
No, the submission that they did a few weeks ago, that came out of their budget, and they didn't have any money budgeted for software for that purpose. They went ahead and paid for it. They moved money. But all I want to do is just give me 2 weeks.
How do we know what in that budget that software was meant for?
Well, we can go back to look at the list of, because again, I was trying to remove the risk to the county by taking the names of the software. And maybe that I made a mistake because we should have maybe at least put general amounts or, like operations of IT or whatever, but we didn't. We just pushed money into there. I increased that budget. I recommended to y'all to increase that budget significantly over what it was paid last year for the use of the departments and not exposed to the public for cybersecurity purposes what all was in there, because I didn't want to give a hacker a blueprint for out of our budget book. So,
Greg, I know that you have a line item attached in the next agenda item. So, based upon the judge's comments, or you recognize that you're paying for other software updates and maintenance out of that, correct?
That's correct.
So, but you don't think that this expense is going to jeopardize that?
Well, the expense that's been spoken about is not an expense that I am aware of that has been brought to me. All the expenses for software and licensing, including Tyler, is something that's in our budget. And so the short answer is I do not. However, we also need to take into account that we, after the budget cycle, also made a move to move the technology department and build a data center. And there are things that are going to come up that was not even intended, right? And those things that we speak about when we talk about cybersecurity was not in our budget. The cybersecurity software and things that we had anticipated was a part of the grant that we were denied. So yes, because we are moving and evolving at a rapid pace, we're having different requirements that are coming up. So could the budget fall short? Absolutely, and it will, regardless of what we do. However, I think that when we look at this HR software, it is going to put us in the 21st century, and it does resolve issues for employees coming on board, employees being removed, the security apparatus of, people being still a part of the system that, hasn't been communicated that they have been removed from the county. And that could be due to just timing mechanisms and things of that nature. But the training is also something that we really rely on to ensure that our employees have the basic background to do a better job and be responsible for not only just the data, but the day-to-day responsibility. So I think it's worth our while to move forward. I do want to make one insert. The current cost is really associated because we are at the end of the year, and they will allow us to have that type of cost. And we can lock that cost in. That would save us a considerable amount of money. Other HR systems that we have tried to vet are $150,000, right? So we're not even close to that. I have used Bamboo HR in the past as a COO, And what I did was allow that information to be transferred to the HR department so that they can vet it themselves. And we looked at other system on site by visiting the city of Barnett just to see how things were being done and the opportunity for us to do better. As it relates to time clock, that is a part of this platform. It is the second phase implementation plan in which we would try to implement that, which will allow us not to be paying separate costs for different systems. So there is a plan, and we work through those plans after approval, and then we create our integrated project team and our implementation plan, and we'll use Bamboo HR staff to help us migrate to where we need to be. So, any other questions?
Yes, sir. Are you going to run any risk if we push this to the 23rd? Is that offer still going to be on the table?
We would probably lose the offer, yes, sir.
You're sure you'll lose the offer
Yes, sir.
if we don't accept it today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So go ahead and sit down. I want a question for the auditor, please, just if you don't mind, or allow her to come up.
Kelly Glazer, Burnett County Auditor.
Yeah, thank you. So this is an item less than 50,000, so it doesn't have to go out to bid. Is that what our current policy?
Not bids, but we would get quotes.
Okay.
Yes.
And are the quotes that are in this book, are they the exact same quotes, consistent with what you see in how you conduct
Yes, it's
business?
already been through my office.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the three softwares from 1 to 50, and then which I don't even see the number on this.
One didn't
have a number.
Yeah,
on
that
it.
They
is
wouldn't even put a number to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that where that 150 came from?
I'm not sure where the 150 came from. It's on one of the quotes.
Okay.
Can I add a little? Being the auditor, I am supposed to administer the budget. And in administering the budget, if the money is in IT, anybody else that says, oh, we're going to buy a piece of software, they cannot sign for IT's budget based on they need a piece of software. And so I do need that IT piece, the detail as to what's supposed to be going in and out of there. However, if a department decides, like HR decides, oh, I want this out of, I want this software, they either have to find it in their budget or they have to get approval from IT to use that money. And that is what happened in this case, was IT.
So you don't remember us moving a lot of the departmental budget at the time we were...
Right, and I asked for detail, and that detail was never provided. And
But
so the
you don't
IT
remember us
piece...
discussing us, you don't remember us discussing that we did not want to put detail? You said detail was...
I understand that we don't want detail, but we need detail. So, right now, it's IT's budget. And the money that's in there is his to spend.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So yes, I do remember combining it, and I remember saying, hey, if we do this, we won't know what's in there. But then we did that for cybersecurity reasons, so.
Okay. All right.
So we'll know better next year. Any other questions?
And, no, I think that's all.
Okay.
And mine would be for Shirley. You're like, sounds like you vetted this, and I know we just, saw some disconnect back when I was more involved, I guess, is what it said. So Judge, your concerns come from spending money that might be needing to go somewhere else later?
The main concern is doing a stopgap approach without really examining how Encode and other systems work. We have a lot of systems. So what in my experience doing statewide IT is that little choices that you make block future choices down the road. And so if what we really need is to work on much of this material. I mean, I had a termination a while back, and that was one of the things I dropped, was not notifying IT in a timely manner to get the system turned off. So it's not like I don't see the benefit. I just don't, what I'm concerned about is taking a stopgap approach on an immediate, at least until I have time to get the rest of my questions answered. And again, that's why I'm wanting to put this on the 23rd. It's not that we're not going to do this. I just want to make sure that this stopgap version is not going to affect the long-term solutions that we might have for ENCODE. ENCODE is very cumbersome. Just right now, we're on a deliberation phase. So I'll let one of the commissioners ask a question. But I just want to make sure that if we're going to look at future disconnects or being able to pull back for a countywide solution that addresses payroll, time clock, all these long-term solutions. So I'd like to do is a 2-week notice. I don't see anything on this bid that's time sensitive on this price quote that says that it disappears on the 23rd. So this is submitted by the company. So if they were to withdraw this quote, they'd actually be unethical at the least. So there's nothing about a time date on here. So I think if you would just give me 2 weeks to examine this and make sure that this is a level of comfort that's not going to involve future issues. So,
did you want to ask something?
I can answer any technical questions. This has been vetted. APIs have been vetted. Integration with Tyler, which is our largest system within the county, has been vetted. It's something that they alluded to at the beginning of this presentation because it was something that was very important, that we knew that Tyler system would be here and we needed to make sure there's full integrations. It's not a stopgap. It's a pain point that's very painful that we need to remove. There's been over 2 months of evaluations and things of that nature for how we could work through this solution. And this is a solution through my involvement with HR department that we've come up with. So if there's technical questions, I can answer those specific questions, but it's hard to put your arms around just a belief. So if there's technical question, I'd be more than happy to answer.
How vulnerable is the security aspect of all the information as opposed to after this problem?
Currently, we are at high risk of vulnerability for a paper-based system. As we move into a more secure apparatus such as Bamboo HR, we remove almost 100%. And you can never say 100% because people are still involved, right? But from a system component perspective, the system is secure. The implementation of the system, that particular part allows us to move into knowing who should have access to what, creating the ACLs for the departments from HR all the way throughout the county. So we secure it through our planning, and then we implement it when it's time to put the system in.
Okay, thank you. So the motion before is to table this to the 23rd. There's nothing on the documentation that shows it's a time-limited thing. Is there any further discussion about the motion to table this item until the 23rd of December? Okay. I'll go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
I'll go ahead and do it by roll call then. I vote aye. Commissioner Luther?
No.
Commissioner Byerly?
No.
Commissioner Collier?
No.
And then Commissioner...
I vote yay.
Yay. Okay. All right.
Aye.
Motion
Yay.
fails.
Yay.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the human resources software, Bamboo HR, and also the line item B and C for the amount of $48,157.20.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Commissioner Collier has item 23 in its entirety, A, B, and C. Commissioner Byerly has seconded. Go ahead and do a roll call vote again.
For discussing it.
Oh, okay.
Is there would it might entertain adding into that, providing that there is no negative impact on the budget as far as the movement of that transfer line item?
Well, that would come, somebody would then have to go back and take all of the software maintenance that we have, that's what you
Yeah,
combined.
that was the problem, is we
And then-
haven't even finished teasing out the
It
budget.
hasn't been assigned. That's my understanding that that money is in there for projects, not a designated project.
During the budget cycle, when we moved the money into that line item for departments, it was in the IT budget. Now, we didn't put labels on it because I was concerned about the cybersecurity risk. And so that meant the DA software, the judge's software, any software that was required. Yes, HR would have had some software like Time Clock and I don't know, the other portal, I forgot what it's called, the one for taking applications. All of that would have been in there. So, but I didn't label it. I intentionally didn't label it to protect our county. So it is all in there in that line item. It just didn't get labeled, and so obviously now I'm now being informed that we should have immediately gone back and looked at what was in the IT budget for last year that had all the labels, Agate, and I don't remember all the names. They were the literal softwares that we were using to operate. What's the one you do remote? That was in there when you do remote access.
Entrust.
Yeah, Entrust and all that. That was in there, and so. But I purposely moved the department software into that line along with what IT already had for their own operations and cybersecurity.
And what did you add to that, sir?
It was about $75,000.
Okay.
Again, and we told departments, no, we're not giving you software money because it's over here when we were doing budget workshop and hearings. So, okay. So we have a motion and a second, Commissioner Collier and Byerly, to approve these items on number 24. Commissioner Luther?
Aye. Well, it'd be 23.
23, excuse me.
Yeah, just 23.
Okay. Commissioner Byerly?
Aye.
Commissioner Collier?
Aye.
Commissioner Dockery?
I vote aye.
Okay, and I vote no. Okay, the motion passes. Call agenda item number 24, discuss, consider, and take appropriate actions on regarding budget line item transfers.
I've reviewed those. I move for approval.
I'll second.
I'd like to split these, please. Will you consider splitting these? Want a record vote on these?
Then I would move to approve the first one in the book, which is the transfer from support licensing fees to operating supplies in the amount of $48,157.20.
Okay, that's Dockery.
I'll second that.
Okay, Collier. Commissioner Luther.
Aye.
Commissioner Byerly.
Aye.
Commissioner Collier.
Aye.
Sorry. Commissioner Dockery.
Aye.
And then I vote no. Okay. Another item from elections. Do I hear a motion? the second
Is there
item?
only one left, or is it?
Yeah, there's,
Two left.
is there two left? Sorry.
I make a motion to approve the remaining items.
It's just one, right.
Just one?
Uh-huh. It's just elections. It's got some paperwork behind it, so.
Yeah, just the elections.
Okay. Byerly has moved to approve the elections line item request. Who seconded?
I did.
Collier. And then all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Item number 25, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding invoices without POs, seats, or contracts. I don't know. Is there a motion?
Move to
Before he
approve.
gets there?
Yeah, I'll move to approve. Or a second.
Okay, so it's okay. Byerly moved to approve. Collier seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes.
I just want to come up here and fess up, that one was mine.
Okay, that's all right. We're good.
You don't have to.
You don't. We read what it was for, so it was, okay.
You're late, I put things in place. That was a mistake on the guy.
All right, thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Thank you, Captain. All right. I call agenda item number 26, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action for the authorization of payments of claims previously approved by the county auditor.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Valkyrie, seconded by Collier. All those, any further discussion, any public comment? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Agenda item number 27, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the FY25 budget amendments. Oh, yeah. Okay. Any questions or anything on that one?
Move to approve.
Any public comment? Close public comment. It's Commissioner Byerly moved to approve. Commissioner Luther seconded. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 28, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding the approval of the purchase of library pods for Bertram Library with funding from the Texas State Libraries and Archives Commission Li-Fi grant in the amount not to exceed $59,770.
Okay, these are for new pods for the Bertram Library.
It's only for Bertram?
These are only for Bertram, correct? Yep, for this one. This time. There's some more coming. This comes from grant funds. The librarian has gotten 3 quotes. One of them is a buy board quote, but she went ahead and got 2 more. And then based on the scope, the objectives, and the total cost, her recommendation is, one second.
Is it the buy board quote?
The buy board quote, yeah. What's the name of the company? Library Interiors. And I'll move for approval.
Second.
Okay, Library Interiors is the selected, moved by Commissioner Byerly, seconded by Commissioner Collier. Any further discussions? Any public comment? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 29, discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding contracts, amendments, grants, or to be approved and or ratified. Approve and sign, execute all necessary documents and actions to enter into an interlocal agreement and order with the City of Highland Haven, and to approve, sign, and execute necessary documents to approve amendment number 3 with Aramark Food Services for Burnett County Jail in the amount not to exceed $2,000. That's $2, excuse me, $2.023 per meal. Is there any public comment? Okay.
My only comment is you better not go to jail if they can feed you on $2.
We slim.
Okay.
That sounds like a real good deal.
I will not accept that as public comment, but a commentary. How about that? All right, so do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve both A and B.
Okay. And second?
Second.
Okay. Commissioner Byerly has moved to approve. Commissioner Luther has seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Motion passes. I call agenda item number 30, acknowledgement of receipt. I wanted to, when Commissioners Court approved me back in March, told me to take some classes. I've exceeded those classes, although it was kind of a cobblestone effort, but there they are for your perusal. And so I've met all of my judicial training requirements. Cottonwood Shores public meeting notices that I've included in there. I guess we own some property or the roads or whatever, so I hope somebody in Cottonwood Shores area pays attention to see whether that's property we own or affected by city actions. The PEC notices are quite shocking sometimes. I've tried to, the PEC are good, but the TCEQ permits are really a maze, so I don't know. I provide these to the Development Services group. Anyway, and the rest of it is, there's no action to be taken. Any public comment? All right, I call agenda item number 31, discuss and take appropriate action modifying the Commissioners Court. Any upcoming modifications needed? Okay, I call agenda item number 32, calendar review. I think that would take us days to get through all the calendar entries that we have coming up over the next few weeks. I call agenda item number 33, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. We are adjourned. Time is now 12:10.